Great. Good evening, everyone. This is the one time of the year that I get to start the meeting. And so why don't we all rise and pledge allegiance to the flag. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The first order of business is to elect your chairman for the year. And so you would speak to each other, who nominates whom.
So I think we've talked about that. I'm going to nominate Marla. She's been here for 2 terms, and it's been very effective and efficient. It's been a pleasure to work with her this past year. And
I can second that
I'll
motion.
defer to my colleague on the end of the table.
Yes, absolutely.
So do a vote?
Yes, let's take a vote on that.
Yeah.
Again, for the nomination. Aye.
Aye.
All in favor?
All in favor?
See you meeting.
Okay, all right. Well, welcome, and put these on, I'll probably help. So, we're gonna introduce ourselves.
My name is Ben Nato. I'm recently elected from this past town meeting. Happy to get started and work with John and Marlo and the residents of the town of Webster. I've been a supervisor at the checklist for the last 5 or 6 years, and prior to that I was involved as a ballot clerk, volunteering and counting ballots and things like that. So I tried to stay involved as much as I could since I moved to town. Yeah, this is the next step. Happy to be here.
Well, welcome, we're happy to have you here.
I'm John Clark. I've been on the board for years. Most of you know me, some of you might not. I'm a resident of Webster for 30 years, 32 years now. Brought up on the other side of that mountain, so I'm kind of knowledgeable to the area. Enjoy working with my colleagues.
And I'm Marla Herrick, I've been here, this is on my 2nd term, and welcome everybody. And it's nice to have 2 different people to work with, and we'll work off each other. So I think the chair is just, in my mind, the person that may just take questions and comments, but we're all going to be up here to answer questions or concerns, and if we don't know them, we will either look into it or look to our town administrator, and Russ is also always very helpful. So welcome everybody. So the meeting of the rules and the procedures is, as Dave would always say, classroom style, okay? So please, nobody screaming, yelling. Raise your hand if you have a comment, we'll try to get to you. I'd like to see that everybody, gets their thoughts out, and then, we will take some public comment at times, and, do the best we can to answer any questions you may have. So next, we're starting with announcements.
And I do not have any announcement.
Oh, that's fantastic. Well, and we did elect the chair till they throw me off. Discussion of board licenses for the year.
Yeah.
The planning board, exo officio.
Yeah, that's which board member is going to be with the planning board. I put the highway department and public safety.
Okay.
Now, I don't know if you want me to combine public safety or separate it for police and fire.
Meaning like, yeah.
What do you want, Chief? What would you
Keep
want?
it together. I mean,
It
we're
makes
in the
sense to
same
me
building
to
and-
keep it
Yeah.
one, yeah,
with the department heads, we're always here.
yeah.
I have been the planning board,
Liaison,
a
yeah.
liaison. I don't know if that's something you want to do, or if there's something, one of these other 2 things. I don't mind continuing it, but if somebody else would like to, or if you'd like the opportunity.
I have no preference whatsoever. I'm happy to help out wherever.
Yeah.
If it's something, you're taking on the new role as chair,
Yeah.
that becomes a new responsibility, so.
Yeah, if you.
I can certainly jump in.
Yeah,
on that.
because John's on it too, as
Backup, yeah.
the backup, okay,
Yeah.
okay.
And of course, the point is to have board members familiar with what the other committees are doing, so you can bring that.
Makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, if you would like to, do that, then it's really up to you guys.
No, I think it'd be a good experience for you.
Yeah.
And Marla's gonna have her hands full as a chair.
Right.
And I usually make the meetings as a backup, and I keep my mouth shut, and try to anyway, but I do offer from time to time. But I think that'd be a good experiential opportunity, if you like.
Sure, yeah, absolutely.
Awesome. So do we would do a motion?
No, you don't need to do a motion, I don't
Okay.
think, just as long as you agree to what you'd like to do.
Okay. Good.
So
All
we
right,
have
and then the
highway.
highway department?
I'm happy to cover that, and I'm happy to cover public safety as a HIPAA.
Okay. Would you like me to be the backup to,
Would you mind doing that?
yeah,
That'd be
no,
great,
no,
yeah.
that would be great.
There's a lot of
So
room.
you go in as does that make sense?
Yeah, fine.
Yep, and
Yeah,
I'll be the
that's okay.
backup to that, and then you'll handle the town.
Work with
and
Emmett and,
Yeah, and the public safety.
Yep, my colleagues are, yeah.
Okay, all right. Think we kind of know what
Easy.
we're
I
doing,
think so,
right?
yeah,
All
we're
right,
making it look that way.
all right, so, just,
You
yeah.
ready for the first appointment?
Sure, yes, so he's ready, he's ready. Yes, welcome. He's here to talk about the Route 127 and Long Street Junction.
Yes,
Corey, I don't want to kill your last name.
I won't be offended.
Okay.
One shot.
Yeah. Spellulas?
Spetalunas.
Oh, okay, wasn't far.
No, it wasn't too far.
Yeah, welcome.
Thank you for inviting me to the front table here for presentation ease. My name is Corey Spetalunas. I work with the New Hampshire Department of Transportation. I am the project manager in our highway safety office. Joined by one of my colleagues, she's the project lead, Amanda Zateka. And then less formally, Matt Lampron in the front with the other conspicuous DOT vest. Is a Webster resident, so he's more attending as a citizen, but he does have a lot of traffic knowledge and has partaken in some of the implementation of always stops in other locations across the state, so we may defer to him if there's a lot of technical questions. So as was mentioned, this is for the intersection of 127 and Long Street. Situate however you need to be able to view this. I'll try to be not too long here. This is a little bit north of where we are now, and my mouse will work. I can advance this. There we go. So I wanted to start with what sort of intersections do we typically look at for converting to always stops? Typically, it's a uncontrolled or unsignalized minor leg stop control intersection, which Long Street would be the minor leg that stop control. 127 is uncontrolled today. Typically, we're looking at if there's a crash history, if there's limited sight distance, which I think we can agree, as we were discussing kind of before the meeting started, there's a serious sight distance deficiency from Long Pond looking to the right. Physical constraints that may impact sight distance or just be leading to a dangerous situation, usually horizontal or vertical curvature. Again, 127 does have that horizontal curve kind of in both directions from the intersection. And there is a nearby building right on the northeast quadrant that does have a good amount of brush, the White House up in the top right there. Other considerations are the speed of the main line, New Hampshire 127 in this case, or limited gaps for drivers to enter from Long Pond in this case, coupled with the sight distance limitations. I could see that being
Long Street.
or Long Street. What did I say?
Long Pond.
I'm sorry.
Traffic.
I live near Long Pond Road. So a little background for this one. I have a map up on the right side. At the top is the location of the proposed always stop, Long Street and 127. I note the Webster 41429 project in the middle of the screen because that was from what I've been informed, was one of the meetings that this intersection was brought to our attention. It's been on our radar, but brought to our attention from the town as part of the select board meeting to talk about that bridge replacement or rehab or just project over the Blackwater River. So we wanted to kind of continue that conversation, which is partially why we're here. We also have a statewide always stop control project going. We're looking to convert about 20 sites statewide. We had a consultant look at certain criteria. We tended to focus on four-way intersections, it turns out there's a lot less four-way intersections that meet the criteria than you would think. So we did look at some additional sites, and this is one of the additional ones that we wanted to, although this is a four-way, the fourth leg is a very minor leg that has a couple residences. So when we were looking at our original criteria for our original study with our consultant, it just didn't qualify because of volumes from that fourth leg. But it is a good candidate for always stop. It would be included in our statewide always stop project if, I don't want to jump ahead of things, but if we were to go ahead with this. And then Webster Town Hall at the beginning, or at the bottom of the map rather, which is where we are. There is a small crash history here. We have 3 crashes on our records. Chief didn't seem to think there were too many more than that.
There's been a couple of minor ones.
Okay.
I'm trying to think. So I've been here 8 years, and I think in that 8 years, maybe 3 in the 8 years that I've been here.
Okay. So that kind of lines up with what we're showing. It was interesting that they were all in 2021. We looked at 10 years worth of data. So, in our minds, it's not a very crash-worthy or crash-prone site, but it is interesting when they did happen, they all happened in the same year. So you kind of get that random ebb and flow for crashes, and just the general characteristics and geometry of this intersection are probably a prime culprit of that. So what we like to talk about is what do we typically try to do to remedy intersections that have safety concerns, whether it's sight distance or speeds or whatever the case may be. And this is a list of essentially things that don't work as well as you would think they would. Increasing the size of the stop sign, getting rid of the vegetation, which is a good remedy but is very temporary. Depending on what the vegetation is, it does grow back. Add a flanking stop sign on the other side of the road, so if you're looking, you have stop signs on right and left. Add cross traffic does not stop placard. We typically don't find people mistaking the other leg for having a stop when they actually don't. Adding overhead flashing beacons is a very common request. They are effective very brief period of time and then they become background to all the drivers. And also adding beacons and LEDs to the stop signs. That is a little more effective, but again, it becomes one of those situations where people just become used to it, it becomes background, unless you're new to the area. But if you drive through every day, it's just there. So operational improvement. When we go through all of the kind of additional countermeasures I just mentioned on the last slide, the reason they don't work is because you still have all of these other concerns that remain. The speed, I'll relate it to this intersection, on 127 would not change. None of those would deter speed on 127. The gaps for Long Road to pull out onto 127 don't change because the behavior for drivers on 127 did not change. Vegetation, as I mentioned, does grow back, and I alluded to the driver behavior, but for both legs, for 127 and Long Road, the expectation is still exactly the same as it was before. Long Road stops, 127 doesn't. You have the same situation when someone stops and they can't see. So why are we considering always stop? For quite some time there was the philosophy at the DOT where less control is more, essentially. We almost wanted to stay out of the way, provide less signing, less direction, let the drivers be in control of what they're doing, and they still are, 100%. We're not controlling drivers in the cars. But there was 2 states in 2023 as part of the National Roadway Safety Awards that were both recognized for their always stop programs, which my supervisor thought was very interesting because when you have 2 awards nationwide that are for the same exact thing, that seems to get people's attention. So those 2 states were Delaware and North Carolina, and they did kind of pilot projects and then they kept expanding upon it. So this was by no stretch the end of their implementation either. Some of the benefits that we see, and I'll get into their data in just a moment, but some of the benefits and I guess pros and cons, for lack of a better word, that we find with always stop control is it does promote safer speeds on the on the major route, so 127 in this case, as they do need to come to a stop to proceed through the intersection. It requires all drivers to stop, so even if you are on Long Street and you need to pull out, you have that expectation that 127 is also stopping. I will note, caveat asterisk, you do need to still make sure the other driver is stopping. You can't just assume they will. So you still have the responsibility. You can't just say, well, they have a stop sign. So there is still the driver responsibility to make sure it is safe before they enter the intersection. Provided 127 does stop as they should, it does provide them their turn to exit the road onto 127 on whatever direction they choose to go. I don't expect a whole lot of pedestrian traffic around here, but if there were that desire or need, it does calm the traffic at that local area for people to cross safer than they do now. Yes.
There's quite a bit of pedestrian traffic.
Oh, really?
More than you expect.
I
We
wouldn't
have
expect
a lot of people, a lot of people walk the road, a lot of people run the road.
Okay.
Every single day,
Well, that's
including the wintertime.
Really? Well, that's terrifying.
It's surprising, but they
Can
do.
I add?
Yeah, please.
He's one of
My
them.
house is one down beyond the Historic Society.
Okay.
I agree with everything you're saying. I've spent a lot of time in North Carolina during my
Okay.
career too. I'm 52 years in New Hampshire Law Enforcement.
Okay.
So I agree with everything you're saying.
Mhm.
The chief and I have talked about this for years in his tenure here, and the chief before him.
Mhm.
The road is a hazard waiting for a death to happen, okay? And the problem with that intersection, you're the professional here, not me. The problem with that intersection is when you're coming down from Long Street, something that's been unsaid, there's a hill.
There is.
And people peek that hill and they don't see, there's no warning of stop ahead, or a timely warning, my term, until you're right at the peak of that hill, and then on an icy day, you're on all four wheels going, and DOT tries the best, but it's not the best plowed or sanded or salted route in the state of New Hampshire.
Sure.
They give good attention to that intersection, but before that, it can be very treacherous. My wife and I run it every day, and I can guarantee you, if you were to sit up there, you'd see probably 10 to 15 to maybe even 20 people walking the dogs, running, walking around the block. People come up from down here, meaning down on 127 in this end,
Yeah.
and walk what we call the circle. So, I'm sure you've done a lot of this evaluation. I really appreciate it. I think you're gonna have great success. I've watched the four-way, as Steve has up and the chief has up in Salisbury. I had some real qualms with that when I first went in, but it's definitely made a difference. It slowed the cars down. And you're putting this bridge in down here, and that is going to be and we've had the meeting with your other staff.
Yeah.
That's gonna be a safety issue. It shouldn't be, but it's going to be because it's on the downhill slant. As you know, that
Yeah.
road slants at a different angle,
Yeah.
which isn't cohesive to keeping people from sliding into the project, if you know what I'm saying. So, I'm very happy you're doing it. That's my opinion as a resident. But you said there haven't been that many accidents. It's only a matter of time.
Well, and that's what I'm glad you mentioned that, because a lot of this is predicated on almost like predictive analysis. When we looked at this from a predictive side, our variables were very limited. We had like traffic volumes, is there a light present, and what's the skew of the intersection were really our big three. And there's not a whole lot of volume here, which I can talk about in a minute. There's no overhead light, which doesn't help, but it's not really skewed. It's still relatively 90 degrees to 127. You just can't see and the road goes away. But it doesn't take into account the lack of sight distance. It doesn't take into account the grade of Long Street coming into 127. It doesn't take account 127 kind of does this weird S through the area. So that's only adding to the possible it's bound to happen kind of thing, just all the.
One factor you're missing is Sunday night traffic. What's going on now with the traffic volume down on I-93, and Chief can talk to this as well as I can. You're getting traffic coming down from Ragged Mountain. Ragged Mountain's becoming a busy recreational facility. And they're coming down Route 4, but they know 127 takes them right to, end of the game.
Yeah.
127 takes them right to 89 as
Yeah.
132 through East Concord. I know you've had complaints in East Concord. 132 is the same, is getting to be as, 127, excuse me, getting to be as bad as 132 on a Sunday night.
So it's a bypass for people who should be on 93?
Should stick right on the interstate, what it's built for, yeah.
Sure.
Excuse my directness, but I mean, it's, you know, and in your job, some people don't see that. We've talked about it a lot, but I realize you can't be out there on a Sunday night, anywhere from 2 to 6 at night. Massachusetts, Connecticut,
Sure.
Rhode Island,
Yeah, that's what the GPS tells them is the fastest
well,
route now.
no, I'm just sharing that with you.
Yeah, no, I
When they
mean,
figure out they don't wanna sit in traffic.
Yeah, we
Other
actually,
movements in traffic.
we actually had the same thing happen in Chichester, where the
Yes.
four-way stop went in. That was a pretty popular bypass route to get around Route 4.
I've seen the majority of the traffic coming from Ragged Mountain, comes into Andover from the mountain coming down, and then they cut through Andover and they come right down
Yeah.
through here, right to 89. It's quicker and shorter for them. Instead of going to driving up New London, get on 89, they'd rather continue south.
Right.
And hop right down here.
If you work your GPS correctly, you can shoot right down through Bow without getting on 93, and jump right on below the toll, and you're home, in
Yeah.
Massachusetts.
Name's Siri.
Yeah.
yeah, no, I mean, appreciate it, because that's
No,
the
I'm
kind
being
of stuff that
supportive. and,
No, I agree, because this is the kind of stuff that is good to add to the big picture that we don't see and we don't necessarily think about all the time.
That probably adds to why people are speeding too. If you were bypassing this on 93, you might be trying to travel at the same speed you travel at night. Not to say people are getting up there, but
Right.
those kinds of people are not the people who
It's-
normally.
Well, they're not familiar with the road either.
Yeah.
And you do come into that, I call it a little bit more narrow, like you said. You're coming up a hill, you have people come down a hill, and you got people coming around a corner. So, yeah, it's a lot to it.
Alan Davis.
Yep.
Just in support of the 2 points. One, when you're coming off of Long, you really can't see enough to know if it's safe to pull out. And that's really the biggest challenge for a driver. As for the pedestrian traffic, it may not seem like there should be much, and as stated, there's people that walk and run, but you've got the Veterans Memorial, you've got the town church, you've got the Historic Society. All of these are directly on the corners of that intersection. You've also got the flower farm that's just up the street from it as well. So you've got multiple things that are all driving and drawing people to walk and go from there. Oh, also the cemetery is right next to it as well. So lots of well-used reasons for people to walk.
Sure. Thank you.
So,
Go ahead.
It's also very popular for a motorcycle weekend. A lot of motorcycles rather drive up the back road than go on the highway. So it's increased traffic then.
For sure.
No, I appreciate all of this. So in addition to creating a safer environment at that location for pedestrians and, slightly outside the intersection as vehicles slow down, it does largely negate the lack of sight distance that we're all pretty familiar with. It also can be implemented pretty quickly. I mean, at the end of the day, it is some signs and pavement markings, and we do have advanced warning for several weeks beforehand and afterwards to make sure all the drivers are aware that something's changed or something's going to change, and it does. Which kind of ties into the cons is that it does require some short-term re-education for drivers that drive through there every day. For people that don't drive through there every day, they're paying more attention to the signs, they're gonna notice that it's an all-way stop, and they're gonna abide by it. For people that drive through every day and just kind of don't see the signs anymore, this is gonna need something to call out, which is where the message boards come in and say, intersection control will be changing in the next couple of weeks, be alert, and then we'll have all our new signs with the orange conspicuity panels and everything. And then we'll have our message board changed to say, always stop ahead, same sort of message so that people know that it's not what it was before. The only other con, which I consider pretty minor, is that it introduces new delay on 127. So we don't have to stop today, because the volumes aren't super high, it is a very minor delay, but some people, we found out of spite, maybe just don't abide by the stop sign initially. Rolling stops happen, I'm not condoning them or supporting them, but if we can get them to slow down and roll through it, that's better than flying through. I'm not promoting rolling stops, but stop, then go. But it does improve the safety regardless. So to get into Delaware and New Jersey's findings, I'm gonna call out these boxes in red. So they piloted 25 intersections. They found a total reduction of crashes, which I realize isn't super applicable to this one due to the low crash history. About 60% reduction in crashes, about 80% reduction in injuries. The fatals are 100%, and that's a very small sample size, so although that is a huge benefit, can't really hang our hat on that one too much. Similarly, in North Carolina, they had nearly 70% reduction in total crashes, and again, almost 80% reduction in fatal and injury crashes. So we couldn't really argue those numbers when you're getting 70% reduction in crashes and significantly reduced injuries and fatalities at nearly 80%. That gets our attention. Low cost at $20,000 per intersection. I'll get into this in a little bit, but always stops are about on par with roundabouts as far as safety is concerned. Crash reduction, crash type, and injury reduction, they're right there. The only difference really is that roundabouts can handle more cars. Their capacity is much higher. Our traffic Bible is the manual on uniform traffic control devices. It has many criteria on when to include consideration of an always stop installation, which I don't necessarily need to go into too much here. The big one is 5 or more reported crashes in a 12-month period. That one obviously not applicable here. There's a lot of vehicular criteria, vehicular counts, traffic volumes. Again, this is a pretty low volume intersection in the big scheme of things. We have had several intersections that are on par with this as far as traffic volumes, and they've been very successful. The big one for this one is in the other criteria to be considered. Locations where a road user, after stopping, cannot see conflicting traffic and is not able to negotiate the intersection unless conflicting cross traffic is also required to stop. Seems pretty much exactly what's happening when you stop at Long Street and you can't see anything on 127. Also, because Long Street is probably the prominent connector to Bosquen, I would have to imagine. You probably have a similar amount of traffic and types of traffic on 127 as you do Long Street. When we have access to probe data and looking at our origin destination type stuff, which is kind of telling us which direction vehicles go, and it seemed like 70% or so of the traffic heading north would take the right onto Long Street, Long Street. I'm confusing myself now. And then vice versa, vehicles coming out of Long would often turn left. It was like quarter of the vehicles turned right. I alluded to this left slide on the top, always stops in terms of safety improvements are on par with roundabouts. We touched on some of the other improvements. Vehicle entering when flashing, that's our intersection conflict warning system. We have not had very favorable results in that. In addition to enhanced intersection signing, stop ahead pavement markings, overhead flashing beacon, those all fall into that core category of things we've tried and they just don't seem to work long term. On the right side, this is the chart from North Carolina on when always stops. Really need additional analysis to see if the intersection still functions after it's implemented. Because of the volumes, about 1,600 vehicles a day on 127, and I estimated about 1,000 based on that origin destination study I just mentioned, about 1,000 on Long Street. We are well within the category of not really needing to do a detailed analysis to make sure this works appropriately. The peak around Webster at this location would not be very long nor many vehicles. And we do have other instances in the state which have similar volumes that have functioned very, very nicely. So I'll go through these a little bit faster. So we've converted several of these sites. These top 4 are kind of the last resort. We went through all of those scenarios of make the stop sign bigger, add the second stop sign, add the placard, maybe add some lights at Auburn, Eaton, Gilmanton, and Franconia. And I'll show you how well the always stop has worked at those locations. Other locations that are a little more relevant and recent, Chester, New Hampshire 102 at 121, that is a big volume intersection as far as an always stop can control. Those are about 7,000 to 8,000 vehicles a day on both of those roads. Hampstead, Chichester, which is the one that Amanda mentioned, and then more locally to here, Salisbury, which has been mentioned, and also Concord, 132 at Plague Road, which is just down the street from the roundabout and Market Basket over at exit 17. So Auburn, and I won't read through all this, but you can see the volumes. This one has a slip lane similar to the intersection down the road that we're talking about. Crash data beforehand was about 6 crashes over 4.5 years. There have been 8 crashes over 9.5 years, but if you look at the rate, we've gone down about half a crash a year, and we've removed the injured crash. In Eaton, we had 6 crashes over 4.5 years. We have had 0 crashes over the most recent 4.5 years that we have crash data for. Similar story over here, 26 crashes. We had almost 5 crashes a year at this location beforehand. This was a 2-way stop. We've had 6 crashes total, so we're just over 1 a year. Again, no injuries afterwards. We had 9 injuries beforehand. Franconia, 8 crashes over almost 6 years with 2 injuries. One of those was a serious injury. In the past 3.25 years of crash data we have, there's been 0 crashes at this location. Chester is a bit of an outlier because of the volumes that I mentioned. That had a crash rate of over 10 per year with many injury crashes. Those were high speeds, poor sight distance. There have been 2 crashes to our knowledge since then. One of those was a minor injury. This one had a lot of town resistance, so it would not surprise me if this was someone that just ignored the stop sign, but that's me totally speculating.
Could I ask a question?
Yeah. That's,
Yeah. Can I ask a question? All of these conversions, have they been done in exactly the same way in order to measure them one against the other? Or were you trying all sorts of different kinds of things?
no, the always stop is, the way you have to lay out the signs and pavement markings and stuff is pretty detailed as a standard. So they're all configured the same way in terms of where the
Okay.
bar is, where the signs are, where the stop ahead sign is.
So it's signs, not lights?
Correct.
Okay.
If some of these, like the Chester one had an overhead beacon already, the red in one direction, yellow in the other, red towards the stop, yellow towards the not stop. So that one, we didn't take it down, we just changed all of them to red to reflect the stop. Because there's nothing at this intersection, we wouldn't install one as a result, it would just be the stops.
Okay, thanks.
So we did a speed study for this intersection to figure out how fast people are going, and I think the 35 on the bottom should be at 30. If I'm, yeah, I typed that wrong, I apologize. So I have the scale up top. You can see the green coming from the bottom of the page heading up into the intersection. Vehicles are going about 42 miles an hour. This is based on the 50th percentile speed, meaning half the vehicles are going faster, half the vehicles are going slower. We're kind of right in the middle here. For reference, speed limits are generally based on the 85th percentile, meaning 85% people are going at that speed or lower, while 15% are exceeding it. So this is really below what we would set a speed limit at if we were to do an engineering study. And you could still see they're going 5 or so over the posted speed. If you can zoom in a little bit, if I can find my blade. You do see this red area right under where Webster is labeled. Traffic does slow down quite a bit there, probably because the uncertainty with Allen Road and just coming around that corner. If anyone is at the intersection, they're probably already pulling out because they're more worried about the traffic to the right. And maybe they didn't double check to the left, and there's probably more of a conflict there than people slowing down because they want to. And then north of the intersection, you can see again, between 39 and 42, which should be a 35. And
What time of the day did you conduct this?
that is for all day. What is the date range? Do you remember?
2025.
All of 25?
So, all of 25.
So this is just on average all day for all year so far.
Well, I can tell you precisely, speeds are a lot faster.
Oh, yeah.
What?
Speed is faster than that.
Oh.
John said, yeah.
I mean, I'm not out there with a radar gun,
No, right.
you know.
Yeah, we found this to be fairly accurate with our standardized way we measure speed, whether it's tubes or whatever.
So you're not using a gun,
Right, no, this is based on like cell phone data and
and
it's.
Chief is here, I mean, feel free, you know, what do you think, Chief?
We see speeds 50 to 70 miles an hour
Yeah.
often,
Yeah.
mainly from where you come out of Long Street, take a right and head towards Salisbury. And that long straight stretch is,
That doesn't surprise me.
and then you get up over the crest of the hill on Long Street going down.
Yep.
It's all 50 to 60, most of them.
Yeah. So as I mentioned, I mean, this is the 50th percentile, so you do have half the vehicles going faster, and there's definitely gonna be those outliers for sure. So this is just a representative sample. Getting to the meat of why we're here, I can zoom in on this as well. This is what, and I don't know if the resident of this house is here. No?
No, they're not,
I was hopeful, but
they're neighbors, but they're not here.
okay. I may tap you for their contact info if you have it or something. So this is essentially what the intersection would look like. Those red arrows are just to indicate which direction of travel is for which signs. Just it got confusing without it, so we added those in. So this would add flanking stop signs for the southbound 127 on the top. It would require installation of some sort of curbed island just in this area to give the stop sign a place to go. This is basically a wide open driveway through here. I do want to touch base with this property owner just to make sure we're okay there. It's within state right of way, but I feel better about it. Coming north, again, we have double stop signs flanking. You have the new placard. These would all have always stop placards below, which is not shown. They all have stop ahead signs down the road, so drivers know that there's a stop coming. The biggest change would be this slip lane now, which is two directional. We would propose converting to right only. So you could go from 127 up to Long, but you could not come the other way. If you're turning left, you would need to come here to make that movement.
And is that just because of the sight distance?
It's really, so the always stop is to reduce conflicts the best we can.
Right.
And if you have vehicles crossing over Long Street to use the slip lane,
Gotcha.
you have a conflict right there already. So this keeps the lefts in one place.
So you've got a telephone pole and a little triangle
Yeah.
right
Yeah.
there. What are your thoughts with that?
We wouldn't touch it.
You're not gonna touch it?
Not under this. If this was a bigger project,
Yeah, I'm
I
just-
think there's
just
a,
asking.
yeah, no, there would be,
Why not just
a-
block it?
a- I won't say better, but they'd be more
The
significant.
problem with this over here is if you're walking a dog or running, where you put the conflict lane out, that will prevent somebody, I've myself have nearly been hit by a vehicle coming too close and running their wheels in the gutter
Okay.
at a high rate of speed.
Making that turn.
And I've watched neighbors nearly get hit with their dogs walking around. That's the big expense. Just so you know why it's a benefit, if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, this one, we're still trying to figure out if we would remove some pavement to narrow that up. I think that would make it more intuitive for drivers, or if we just do some sort of striping like that.
6 to 1 happens.
Yeah.
They cut it too tight, you know what I'm saying?
Well, I'm concerned if larger vehicles, primarily like semi-trucks, log trucks, whatever, want to make that movement.
It's awfully tight.
I don't want them going off well, it's probably tight now, if they have the whole slip lane.
Right. So you go
It's much easier
into, you go
movement.
into the other lane
Okay,
to do it.
okay.
Trying not to, I mean, you try to.
Sure.
People in the area who have the trucks
Yeah.
go very carefully, but you get those other trucks.
Yeah, and that would be the same thing for vehicles, the larger vehicles coming out of Long Pond that wanna take a left. Is this stop bar may move back just a little bit to accommodate it, but they may just have to make make sure this leg is clear before they make their movement, but that's essentially what we're proposing to do, with maybe some minor tweaks to this slip, but the goal is to make this a right only. I don't think getting rid of it is the right move, because this right turn would be impossible for anything school bus or bigger.
What's your distance back to the sides from the double yellow? 36? Set a line back to the corner of the edge of the road to state right away.
Oh, that's a good question.
I was told it was 36 by the local supervisor.
It could be. We got this off
Is
our,
there a scale on
off
there?
our right
Or
of
we might have to put the scale back?
Just ask.
Don't know. No,
We can get that to you.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to measure.
Just curiosity.
Yeah, we can
I
get
don't know
that to you.
offhand. These are certainly approximate. Those green lines are to indicate the right-of-way. That's from our internal right-of-way software, which is definitely approximate, so one more reason I wanna talk to that property owner about the
I'll get you the
sign
names.
installation. Okay, I appreciate it.
Can I ask another question?
Sure.
Have you considered putting a warning, something or other, to the people coming from Salisbury down 127?
From the north.
Right up there, right before the curve.
There's the warning.
To let them know.
Well, it's gonna be signage showing that there's a four-way stop. Okay.
Yeah, they'll have the stop ahead signs. So there's one on Long Street now.
Right, on Long Street.
Yeah.
But on,
On 127, yeah.
It'll be on both ends.
right, but in time for them to come to a screeching halt.
But it's gonna be down by John's house or before John's house,
Yeah,
so that's
Okay.
quite a bit of time.
okay.
Yeah, we'll have the stop aheads, we'll have the message boards for several weeks before and after, so
Good.
people that go through on the
That's gonna
daily
be
will
good.
definitely.
This will be a behavioral change for a lot of those drivers.
For sure, for sure. And
Soft words.
it may sneak up on people that don't drive through that intersection for the month,
Yeah.
month and a half that this is going on, and then they come around the corner and go,
Yeah.
oh no.
I think that's another reason we're here, because I know
Right.
at Chester, that's obviously higher volume. The police had to buy into this because they had a police officer, I think, there for the first 2 weeks, and then everybody was okay.
Yeah.
But, you know, obviously, it's gotta be enforced.
Well, I think
So-
everybody here has seen Mountain
Absolutely.
Road and 132, and we've seen Salisbury, and we comply with it.
Yeah.
That seems to have gone well,
Those are
so
both working.
just take some time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't live too far from the Concord one, and that one was one we got notified regularly
Yeah.
that something happened, or someone went off the road and they're in my yard again, and that's stopped.
Well, I'm, a neighbor you want to talk to, I'm very concerned that someday we're gonna see a trailer truck in the house, or Steve and I, the chief and I have talked.
Yeah, one of the benefits of this as well is, for the ice condition you mentioned on Long Street that could potentially happen, is even if they do slide through, if the people on 127 are doing what they're supposed to do and stop, they should just go through unhindered.
Be one hell of a
They're gonna
TV.
get stuck over there,
No, you're right.
but, yeah.
One thing that I see as a huge benefit is having you have that be a one-way, because when you're coming down and curving, you have to look up over that lump
Mhm.
and try to see down over the hill, which is kind of a curved thing.
Yeah.
And so I sit there and I go like this.
Yep, yep.
Probably
Right.
5 times.
And then you're already
I
sitting
almost
like
got
this,
head
so
on.
you're, yeah.
I
making it
almost got
harder.
head on and he got over in the other lane, cause I was looking down the hill, making that my final look.
Mhm.
I don't know, and so it's very dangerous right now with that, with having to cross traffic and not be able to see downhill or around the corner.
Right,
It
and it makes
seems-
it trickier with 127 and Allen Road, both to your left.
And you just went like this for,
Yeah,
We were really surprised at how many people don't enter the intersection now to make the left turn from Long Street. Seems like a lot of people use the ramp, but I can see why you don't, because in Long Street, you're hidden by the house. So you're almost more visible maybe using the ramp right now, but hopefully it slows everybody down.
we should. We've showed 15 or so mile an hour on average of speeds at the intersection on the main roads slow down when we do our always stops at other locations, so.
Well, there's always an exception, you wouldn't have accidents if there was accidents.
It's not foolproof. 100% not foolproof. It's still, drivers make mistakes, and we're here to try to minimize that. So next steps, it sounds like there's support, but I'll wait for some sort of official, whatever Webster wants to do. But if for some reason there's no town support, we just don't worry about it at this location for right now. If there is local support, which it sounds like there is, and if it's formal support, we'll include this in our intersection project to include, or to likely be installed in 27. I just have some higher priority sites in 26 that I need to get some video analytic comparison data. So those are gonna be on the front of my burner, but, let's see my contact info.
Well, from what I'm hearing, I think you're gonna have a lot of support for this. I mean, there might be a few people that don't wanna stop, but it, you know, even just looking at it, I don't think very many people could argue that there's many times we've all got to, like you pointed out, you get to that intersection, you're like, did I look enough times? Or you get scared yourself because somebody didn't see you. So, I don't know if there's anything, what we do next, or just,
You might consider writing a letter of support.
okay, okay. Yeah, I mean, I think we should do that, and I feel like that's what everybody's feeling out there, unless anybody has any other comment that they don't want us to support it for some reason.
I'll be happy to, yeah.
Oop.
I
Yes.
just wanted to say, you have all my support.
Okay.
As people have mentioned, that turn is really, makes me feel like I just pray every time that no one's coming on 127 and try to get out there as fast as I can.
This is definitely more, like I would even call that a little bit more scary than even Andover four-way.
Yeah.
Because you can see so
Yes,
much better when you
yes,
get
I
Andover's
agree.
four-way.
It's
so-
much narrower and you're right.
Yeah,
Just-
yeah. And we are lucky nothing's ever
I
happened, so.
feel very fortunate that
Yeah.
the crash date is as low as it is right now.
I'm surprised that
I don't wanna wait for that to change.
No. So you will put together a letter of support, Chief, is that something
Yep.
you need from him too, or just, we just do it, or?
I'll email it right to him.
I can
I'll give you the
also,
card too, so-
Okay.
Oh, we got a great showing of people here tonight too, so.
Yeah, that worked out well.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Went a little longer than I wanted to, so I apologize for that, but I appreciate.
Well, we
Good time.
appreciate you coming in, yeah, no, you did a great job.
I think this will be a good change.
Makes a lot of sense. Which, can you believe it, we're doing something that makes sense? Golly.
I'm gonna shut it off.
You had any more questions?
I did, I
Yeah,
do
go
have one question. And this is something where I'm maybe just not familiar with,
Sure.
with the process. The $20,000 or so per, is that covered by the state? Is it covered by the town? Is it
So,
covered
Good
mixed
question.
or?
I keep getting that question and I haven't provided a. That should just be part of the thing at this point.
We all wanna know who's paying.
That will be part of
That's gonna be
my,
the question I'm gonna get.
that'll be federal
Right.
money,
Yes.
part of my highway safety improvement program funds that we use, so that will
Okay.
be no cost to Webster.
Federal money, okay.
Can you believe some towns didn't want to always stop and it was free?
Do you have a card you can leave with
Yeah,
us?
I have a couple.
Thank you, we'll get you the information you need.
Great.
Thank you very much.
Excellent, I appreciate it.
Oh, that was a very nice presentation.
Very good.
All right, and anybody else have anything else they want to ask before we move on?
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Chris is here for, town towing, Chris Chelsea. Come on up. You can seat right over there.
Either one. Wherever you're
I'll go, sorry.
This one is also.
Oh, that's ours.
That's theirs, yeah.
So that's the Hudson.
Cool.
I think that's what I know.
I assume that, but it's always good to know. Yeah.
All right, well, welcome. Chris, I think, is here to talk a little bit more about towing.
We can talk about, I can give a little bit of
Okay,
background.
please do.
So, Chris has been before the board before, I think it was maybe 2 years ago?
Year ago.
Year ago. and the CBA to get a special exception, because you were told that the police department wouldn't use you if you didn't get a legal business, was the first part of it.
Right.
Which you went through that and did that. And I think the town, as far as what I've talked to board members, would like to use you as well, but we would like to see some changes. I think I've discussed this with you before about the junkie yard that you have and cleaning that up a little bit. We can provide you incentive to do that, and then we can use you for towing. Because I think kind of how the way we say it, that, you know, if you come into a little bit more compliance, then I think the board would be in favor of.
Let me
So, yeah, lay it out, what are
Let
you
me say
looking for,
something.
please?
Okay, you've been working on your yard, okay? And let me just kind of take it back a year. We have started to enforce code enforcement, and you're not just the only person. But you have started, according to Russ, and I drive by your house a lot on your business, you've started to come into compliance quite a bit. And there were some concerns with that initially, and I know the chief had some concerns about utilizing for towing. And we have to balance. We have to balance between our citizenry and our businesses, and also our police department, which we feel does a good job. We want to see it be successful, right? And I want to make sure that the chief and you can work together. And if there's some more that Russ feels need to be done, I think we need to look at that, if that's the case. And we'd ask you, and I'm looking to my other two folks here, we'd ask you to work with us. We don't want to take people to court. And first night I sat here, I was kind of tasked with the code enforcement with Russ, because we didn't have a code enforcement person. So, you know, I'm the type of guy, I'll tell you straight up where I'm at with it. I want to be sincere, but I want, you know, I want to encourage good citizenry, and that's what I think we're trying to do here. And I think
Right.
you've really tried to work with us, I know that, if you know what I'm saying. So, I'll keep this here.
So,
It'll be beneficial to us, because he's right up the street.
Yeah,
so what I'm looking for is really, so when I left here last time, I was understanding, these were the things, because Tom and Chris were here at the same time too. Okay, they didn't like the bright light, the one that because I have two lights that I had on in the yard, they didn't like that. They didn't like me sitting there with my truck idling with the lights on. They didn't like me driving in and backing up because the lights always hit their house, okay?
are these neighbors you're speaking?
This is the neighbors.
We are neighbors
Okay, I'm
across the
sorry.
street.
Are they here tonight?
No, they're
No,
not.
okay, thank you.
They're not. So I did, one light I no longer use, I shut it off. I do leave one on, because I like to have one on. It sits back, really doesn't expand into their house area very much at all. I started pulling the truck in to the left now, and backing up as much as I can, so that I'm not putting headlights out. And when I idle, I found a switch that I can turn the headlights off, the daylight running lights off, so I don't have those lights running all the time. One of the other neighbors suggested a fence, so I've started the fence. It is not complete, needs a little more concrete, tends to fall over a little bit. So I stopped until I can get that settled. They want the equipment out back. That was part of the fence issue. And I need to get that done to make that part of it work. After that, when I left the meeting, I was under the understanding that I had a year to get that done, and that I would be used by the police department coming up to that time frame. What did your notes say?
I would have to go back and check the notes. I don't remember I remember there being a time frame to put the fence in.
Because I thought I asked directly that, does this mean that I have to, I can't be on
ZBA
rotation until this is
Does not
done?
have the authority to tell the police department what to do. So
Okay,
they can make a decision to say with the compliance, and they can do the fence and that between the planning board, but they don't, this is the board that has the direction over the police department, and the chief has the direction over the police department. So
Our stipulation is just that he's in compliance with all his town regulations.
Correct.
Once you're in compliance with that, you're good with us.
so which regulations are you looking at?
So right now, the last bit is one, getting the equipment behind it, and then there are several of those junk trailers, or I don't know if they're junk anymore, off to the side.
The ones to the side? No,
Yeah.
one is a cargo trailer, one is a motorhome, which is registered, it's my father-in-law's, Barry
Right.
Woods. There's a dump trailer there, which is registered, and right now I have my Volvo's not there anymore, my stepdaughter's car, I'm waiting on her to get the title so I can get it out of there and get it gone. She's
Right.
using my Tahoe now because her car died.
Right,
And, then the wrecker.
yeah,
And the wrecker I'll re-register, I just got the cab for it, you and I talked about the
we
cab.
did talk about it,
Yeah,
so we,
he actually just finished it Thursday.
and that's the one thing I've been really happy with working with you, is that you're trying, so like, that's the big thing. As long as you keep working at it, I think the town's happy, we just would like to have the point where the board can feel happy putting their support behind you, and that's kind of where we are tonight, cause you wanted to talk about that, and the board also wanted to talk to you about that, and just say, you know, they're offering their support to say, if you work towards this goal, and I think Steve's agreeing with it, that they will use you once you accomplish the cleanup portion of it. And we can talk in more detail in my office about what we think that should be, but a lot of it is making sure that the business side of what we're seeing from the business isn't clearly visible from the side of the road. Like, there can be some visibility, but it shouldn't be to the point where it impacts the neighbor. And I think that's the biggest part here. I don't know if the board would agree with me on that one, but,
Well, I mean, yes, and there's reasonable requests.
right,
And it seems like he's worked very hard
He has.
towards it. I mean, even like, if he was in a business pulling in and out, his lights are gonna shine across the street,
Right.
that's where their house is, across from where he enters and leaves from.
And I
So-
won't back out into that intersection if I can help it.
Right, so I personally feel that he's done a lot to, meet our request,
yes.
and, you know, putting his best foot forward. And, he's also, you know, it's good for the residents or whoever is coming through this town, if they have a problem, to be able to, for Chief Adams to utilize him, you know, it saves them time and money too. So his towing's not, you know, anything people want their cars to be done to.
I agree with Are you AAA?
We'll say yes and no. So, I do
I
not.
like a more defined answer.
I do not contract with them. I am what they call a, commercial contractor. I am the last resort one they call, because I get paid my rates, not their contracted rates. I was with them for 5 years, I think it was, but I might as well have just parked the truck and gone to work
Yeah.
for them for what I was
And
making.
you're fully insured?
Oh, yes.
Okay, just asking.
Oh, yeah. No.
Okay. Now, I want to see you be successful. I said that when this all started, and I knew you were dealing with some compliance issues, and that's what we call it. We don't call it breaking the law, it's compliance, although there are laws. But I think you've come a long way. If you can work something out with Steve, and we don't want to tell Steve what to do. And the chief.
Like I said, the minute the town, or the select board says that you're in compliance, we're good to go.
So I think the next objective for us would be to come up with a list of what we think needs to get done before it looks like it's compliance, and we can sit down and we can talk about that.
Yeah.
And then
I'd like to hear
we'll
what you
have
say.
you sign off on it, and then the board sign off of it, and once it's done, we'll call it a day.
Yeah, because I would like it cut and dry, clear.
That's what I think
right
it's a
now,
little
I don't think it was
ambiguous,
in the
but if we can
past.
get it cut and dry so you know what the expectations are,
Mhm.
and we are both agreeing on what the expectations are and they're accomplished, then there shouldn't be any more issues. It
And we
should be-
appreciate you working with us, because we don't want to spend a day in court.
Yeah, no.
We don't want to do that to people.
Yeah,
you know
no,
what
I
I'm
agree.
saying?
It's,
Well, and I think you also bring something
Agreed.
to our community with having some business in this town, and, you know, and making, you know, I know for a fact his rates are very reasonable and right up to par with everybody else, so, if not a little bit more reasonable. So, we wanna see anybody succeed.
We've been busy, so we apologize too. We've been dealing with the budget, meeting come up, no excuse, but, you know, we
well,
wanted to get you in here
I
soon.
missed the last one too, just because I was busy
Well,
too, so
we
I
get
understand it.
But we wanted to get you, we haven't been trying to delay you, or we don't operate that way, you know. and,
I appreciate it.
Just apologizing for that.
No, it's fine, I appreciate it.
Do we need a
No.
motion or anything?
No.
We good?
Okay.
Okay.
Awesome, thank you for coming in.
You're
We
welcome.
appreciate it.
So I'll just meet with you.
So we'll meet and we'll sit down and talk about it, and then we'll come up with a plan And
Okay.
then, once you're happy with the plan and the board's happy with the plan, we'll just make it happen.
Unfortunately, you're like a resident that lives in a neighborhood near a high school or near a college. You know what I'm saying?
No, say again?
I said you're like you're like a person who lives near a college, excuse me, you're like somebody that is involved with a college and has a rental for kids, and people live next to it. You follow what I'm saying? And they don't expect there to be any noise with college kids. Well,
Oh,
guess
yes.
what? They're like diesel trucks. You know?
Well, I have my actual.
I got that a little reversed.
Right. You're right, and unfortunately, the trucks are the trucks, but I am not doing business there. Any vehicles you see.
No,
me
no,
loading and unloading mine.
I'm being humorous with you.
Yeah, no. Well, it's just for clarity, because some of these people don't understand either, because they will. It's not unusual to see me loading and unloading a car in my yard, or my truck, but normally it's my own stuff. So example, this pickup truck I have out here needed rear brakes. I'm the only one. I'm gonna open up the truck, I'm gonna drive it on, I'm gonna take it down, drop it off, I'm coming back with the truck, with the rollback, leave the other one there. And I will do vice versa. If the rollback needs to go for work, I load a vehicle on it and I go. And then if my stepdaughter breaks down, or my stepson's break down, or my son needs something, I'm doing it. Or sometimes you'll just see me moving something around. It's actually, it's better than having a dolly. I can put something on the truck and move it around the yard. So, yeah, the truck's very versatile. You'll see me doing all kinds of things. I have a storage yard. I have an agreement with Larry Turcott at Ajax Auto in Warner, off exit 9. You'll see a chain link compound to the right of his building. That is my compound. That's my storage yard. And I have other areas in his yard that I can use beyond that too if necessary. So I'm just my office there and parking the trucks. Thank you all.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Have a good night. You
too.
I'm not gonna hang out for the rest of the night.
Oh,
Thank you.
do we have any old business?
Pardon?
I have a couple
out and
of
dry.
policies
I'll
I'd
bring
like
some.
to talk to you about. And Grace, why don't you come on up?
Which one is it? Orange truck.
The first is the delegation of deposit authority. And the treasurer, as you know, is the one responsible of dealing with the bank account and the bank and so forth. She does have, or he, has the right to authorize other members of the town to make deposits. And of course, that's sensible when you have the clerk and the tax collector and even the select board office. And so, under the RSA, Therese and I have decided, or really Therese has decided, who is authorized to go to the bank. It's not just everyone. So I had sent that in your packet, and you probably saw it. And the reason it's here, because every year, right after the town meeting, the board is supposed to review it. And I think this is the first year I've actually been efficient and done it right after town meeting. So I'm trying to improve my thing. So if there are no changes other than we did add the deputy treasurer, listed the deputy treasurer, even though she's had the right because she would act as the treasurer. So I would ask that you approve that and sign that for us. Grace, did you have anything? Did I miss something or?
No?
I think I've been to the bank to deposit once when someone came in to pay an overdue tax bill and had like $16,000 in cash.
You want to get that in?
I didn't want to lose it.
You're probably the only one available.
Probably. Thank you.
Okay.
The next policy is the investment policy, more or less the same objective with that for you to review. We're supposed to review once a year, and here we are, right after town meeting. There were no changes that were made in the investment policy. Anything on that, Grace?
Well, I just, I think we've been very happy with Franklin Savings Bank. They're, and, you know, the way the economy is now, anyway, and it has been. We did have, we still have good interest rates, but they aren't as high as they were a year or so ago. But Franklin Savings Bank has always gone out of their way to help us, and of course they helped us with the bridge. TAN. Yeah. And that
Which
was,
you guys came up with, which was a very good idea. So you could sleep at night.
paid ahead of time, so we got some interest back.
They've been a very good partner.
Very
Yeah.
good, yeah, and there's no, you know, you don't wanna play games with the stock market or anything like that right now, so,
Yeah.
So no Bitcoin.
yeah. No, no Bitcoin.
And the state law only state-specific things that you can invest in. You have to have your money in a New Hampshire bank. You have to, there's only a couple options you have for investments. You can't buy pork bellies
No.
or anything like that, so, and sometimes
Fine
the
rib and
interest,
lobster?
the interest isn't as good as you'd like, but it is what it is.
Yeah.
Dave, did you have a question?
I was just gonna say, do you have a concept of roughly what the interest rate is now? Is it similar to a high interest savings account?
Yeah,
Or is it-
right now, our accounts, with Franklin Savings, are at like 3.3%. And, we've been with them a couple of years, and we were good for a couple of years at 4%. And it just gradually kinda went down, but we're in excess of 3%, so.
Yeah, very similar to high interest savings.
Yes.
So good,
Yeah.
good.
And I was expecting to
And those are repurchase agreements that happen every day.
Yeah, yeah.
The money gets swept out of the account at the end of the day, and if we need more money, it gets swept back in. I think we have a minimum balance or something of
I'm not sure what the,
25,000 or 100,000, however.
Yeah.
So, anyway, we wanted to update that and have that done for this year.
It's always good to have a bank that works with you.
Yeah.
So, great. Anything else?
No, the next thing I think you might consider talking with the SALT,
Okay.
the Conservation Commission.
Yep.
I heard from Amanda this morning when I opened my email.
Thank you, Treese.
Oh,
That
you're
she had
welcome.
spoken with John, and he had mentioned to come in.
I appreciate you coming in.
And obviously, it was too late to put it on the agenda.
Sure,
So-
sure. Yeah. You wanna come back up and kind of, I know we had a little discussion at the town meeting.
Do you want us all up there? There's like 6 of us.
Yeah, I think it's quite, yeah.
We have lots of chairs.
Either way, you're right there, I mean, we can hear you, so. Hello. I think everyone here at the town meeting. Yes, we were. And I don't want you to think, I know that,
We're right here.
you had made a presentation to Dave and I, but I think you had got some more information on the fact of, the school having some problems with the well. Yes, yeah, that was kind of news on Saturday, but I don't know if you were here for that meeting.
You know, that's, as I said Saturday, and speaking to, so, I haven't, other than your presentation, and I operate with evidence, okay, and I haven't heard just speculation and rumor. I did watch the public safety building get built, and my wife was on that committee, and I watched Addie bury his bulldozer in the yard. And that doesn't have anything to do with that, right, but I was very unaware of the school situation. And I guess what I like to see is this plan, a real proactive, collaborative approach, and establish a committee. You have a committee, but I don't know who's on it. I know Chris was on it, I know you're on it, but I didn't know. Get the names of everybody. If we have to approve it as a board, there's a couple people I think should also be on it to discuss with you.
Yeah, I think having a group of people dedicated to this particular
Right.
project makes the most sense.
Right.
So, I mean, basically, this has been something the Conservation Commission has been concerned about because it's impacting our natural resources. But I think a committee would probably involve other people, such as Peg here, who has extensive wetlands and DES experience, and I'm very open to what other people think is the right people to have on the committee.
Yeah.
And I will say, you know, I'm interested in helping in whatever way I can, but I have a young toddler at home, and I'm a little bit limited in my capacities for evening meetings and meetings in general, because I have to arrange childcare. So I'm not entirely sure if I can be on the committee.
I think we need to establish a direction, and I feel like nobody's fault. I'm not pointing the finger at anybody. I feel like we've done a lot of wheel spinning this year.
Yeah.
We've heard a lot of public comment, which is always very good to hear. But I think we need to start establishing, okay, do we get an engineering firm in here? I know Marlo has been doing some work on that, but do we get an individual who's capable? I mentioned the other day I hadn't heard anything about test pits being done up back here, which I think you're the environmentalist, so if I'm not on the right track, you tell me, but I think we probably need to have some test pits to make sure if we're moving up that direction, we're making a good decision.
Yeah.
But from what you said the other day, I'm very concerned. You know, I've had some feedback over the weekend, and people have said some, but I'm very concerned if we're looking at water problems down here, that brings up a whole nother issue. Not that we weren't that aware of it. We weren't aware of a new well being drilled and all that until you and others brought it up. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
I think we need to get moving in a direction.
Yes.
I'd like to see us, you know.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I agree. With some of the research you did with, you know, the aquifer down here, do you have did you do the, what's the word for it? The soil sampling and the study, do you have any information on up behind where we're thinking about placing the salt shed? Yeah, so I looked just at the data that's available.
that's what I was trying to say.
online
Yep.
with our mapping.
Which is where you got the data for down here, right? Yep.
So, it's out of the aquifer, so
Okay.
immediately better.
Yep, yep.
And it's also a higher elevation. The wetlands layer didn't show any wetlands up there, which makes sense. And we did actually walk out there back in last November. Not the full 45 acres by any means, but the area closer to the safety building. And it was a pretty dry site up there. That being said, I do think it would make sense to have, at some point, you know, have a professional out there or a professional volunteer that has the immediate experience and expertise to say, this is the correct site on the particular piece of land up there that it should be sited. And also, you know, either that person or another person be able to give us some sort of, you know, report
Guidance.
on soils, because you know, I have some experience, but I don't have a lot of experience in different soil types, and certain soils are gonna behave differently with building and construction and everything,
Yep.
so.
Do you have any concern of, you know, the piece kinda, I think it kinda does one of these, right? I think it kind of comes to a little, it's kind of flat and then points and then goes back down towards, you know, the drainage. On the other side would be towards more like Winnapocket.
Right.
So, but do we, right, cause it kind of,
So it goes up,
it goes up.
it
and
goes
then-
way up. and
Okay, and then it drops
up,
down.
up,
I've
and
never been at the top, I can just see where.
It has a great view
Yeah,
of
yeah.
the pocket.
Yeah.
And then it goes whoosh.
On the, once you get to the peak of
Right.
it, okay, and then it goes down.
Yep.
Yeah, I think that would be my only other concern, is just to make sure that we're, again, I think some of the people in town, I think everybody looks at this is probably something that we need to do and make happen, but I don't think we want to move one problem and then make a new problem, and that's some of the words that we were hearing, and that's where we kinda came up where, to get with at least an engineer consulting and looking at which, we might not have to do, cause you have a lot of background, that was great. Yeah.
So here's, I kind of started some things yesterday.
Yeah.
To some people that I work with are still at DES, and it's a friend of mine that does grant writing for stormwater on the seacoast. So,
Oh, okay, yeah.
State of New Hampshire has what's called a road salt coordinator. They're the ones that certified this green Snow Pro program, if you ever heard about that. It's the guys that throw the salt and sand. If you throw the right amount, you can get this green certification. and it's all about protecting the watershed. And it's all started from the widening of I-93 down south, which I did like decades of sampling down there. So the guy that wrote the first program sat right next to me, blah, 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 blah. So what I think, one of the first things that I'll do is go to DES, and my compadre sent an email today to the road salt coordinator introducing me as an ex-DES person, and, you know, the town wants to build a salt shed, blah, blah, blah. So I'm gonna sit with that person first. They work in what's called the watershed assistance section. So these are the people that do the grant money, they give the money away. So just to let you know, what my role there was at DES was I was the TMDL coordinator. Nobody knows what that means. I worked in the polluted waters program. I would go to a lake that was polluted, we'd do all this research, data collection, computer modeling, blah, 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 and figure out, you know, what's your pollutant load reduction you need to make the water clean again. That's my area of expertise. So, hence the I-93, the road salt thing, and blah, 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 blah. The people that I would work with then, once we figured out what people would need to do, I would say, you know, they would get mad at me, say, well, you can't tell me what to do, and blah, 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 and you're like, you're absolutely right, I can't, but this person that works with me will give you free money to help you fix your problem. If you wanna fix it, fine. If you don't, great, I've got 4,000 other lakes to work on, have a nice day. So anyways, the people in the watershed assistance, it'll be the next person, I believe it's Jeff Marcoux. And you guys know Steve Landry, who lives here in town. I mean, he got promoted to the section supervisor of this, and he sat, you know, that far away from me. So anyways, I'll get with Steve and his crew, and I'll see if there's any grant money available for this. The next step is to go to DOT and, you know, the whole engineering piece. What the state has available, and I believe they still do this, is they have, like, hundreds of engineers that work at DOT, and some of them specialize in road salt stuff. So there may be already designs out there that we can simply, they'll say, here's like 4 designs.
Yeah,
And what you
yeah.
could potentially build, this one costs.
Of a salt shed.
Yeah,
Right, perfect.
and, you know, when I was down in Rhode Island, I worked at a drinking water treatment plant, and they had to build a road salt because there were all these reservoirs, and, you know, they had a shed like ours by the reservoir, and we're like, no, you gotta fix this. So that's, you know, the project that I worked on there, and DOT down there had a whole bunch of different designs. And so, and they literally build these, so they have the plans and blah, blah, blah. So that's stuff that you might be able to get for free. So that's another thing I can do, because the people that used to work with me in the Wetlands Bureau, that guy is the guy who started the Department of Environment over at DOT. You guys probably don't know this, but DOT was one of the biggest wetlands violators in our state, historically.
We might.
You know, the Route 9, you know, like the
We all wonder.
Route 9 expansion, and they straightened it all out. What a horror story that was.
You
So,
mean the salt going down in the wetlands?
yeah, they were building stuff in wrong, not putting their silt fence up. So anyways, what we did was, you know, after like hundreds of thousands of dollars of fines, we did what's called a memorandum of understanding, MOI, and we said, listen, in lieu of, you know, giving us $1 million in fines, why don't you hire a bunch of people that will learn the rules, and we'll literally teach them, and then you can have your own little Department of Environment that every project you do will have an environmental person there that's gonna say, okay, this is where the silt fence is built, and they literally go out there and make sure it's up in the right place and everything's done right. So that's the other piece of this, is that I can find out who those people are, and liaison with those. So I've got some work to do to go to the state and meet a bunch of people, which I'm perfectly willing to do. And lastly, I found out yesterday, my friend that I was working with, the town of New London just rebuilt their salt shed. So I ran into Amanda at the grocery store. So we should go see that salt shed and talk to them about their process, see if they got grant money, and what, you know, what did you like about it, what did you didn't like about it, blah, blah, blah. And we can go around, I'm sure DOT will tell us this, and anybody who's a grant writer can tell me who they've given money to. So we can find out, like, who's billed what where, and we can go look at them. And then we can also say, all right, you know, this is how much this one costs, this is how much this one costs. So there's a lot of information that we should get first before we go hiring
Fine.
engineering
Fair
and
enough.
stuff. See what you can get for free.
Right.
And see what's out there, and then go look at some stuff, and then kind of come back to the table with a bunch of knowledge to say, okay, you know, here's the range of costs, here's what you can get for free, here's what you're gonna have to pay for, and then kind of proceed from there.
Did I hear you say there could be some grant money available?
Yes.
There may be, I don't know.
Yeah, okay.
But literally the whole section that gives away money in the state, I used to work right next to them, and I liaisoned with them all the time. Because we would do all the mathematical computer modeling and environmental engineering for the towns for free. And they're like, oh my God, we've gotta spend $100,000, and they'd be like, well, you know, the Clean Water Act funds, blah, 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 blah. So they would do stormwater work, they would do all kinds of stuff. There's
I
a-
think there's a great education process involved in this too, for all of us
Yeah.
and Emmett and everybody else involved. 'Cause he has to be part of it, being the road agent but it sounds to me like we all need to be educated a little bit, that's what
Yeah.
you're saying to us, yeah.
Go ahead.
So I was going to ask you, first of all, since we are working on one of the riverways that is, you know, a state riverway, does DES supply engineering for us?
For projects like this, DES does not supply engineering. They have tons of engineers that do a bunch of things, but the engineers we want to liaison with this are gonna be in DOT. So those are the people I gotta
I
go
see.
look up.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's question number one.
Yep.
And then point number two is, well, Emmett has to go with us.
Right.
To go see that place, and I think it would be great for a select person to go as well. So we.
Yeah, I mean, we should definitely arrange some field trips, but the first thing we gotta do is just some homework to find out what's available, if there's grant money, because a lot of the grant money's drying up. We know what's going on with the politics right now, and, you know, they're trying to decimate the Clean Air Act and the Clean Water Act. It is a federal statute, but they're mucking with it. I mean, by law, they have to comply, and they're supposed to go through a bunch of things to change the law, so they can't just change the law and say, but they can dry up money. So I don't know if there's money available or not, but that's a wicked easy question to find. Yeah, go ahead.
Isabel?
Peg, I have a question about DOT.
Yeah.
Do you think they would be available to come out here and look at our site and help us decide whether or not we've chosen a good place for the road or not?
Yeah, that's one of the questions that I would ask, is what kind of services can you provide to us as
Okay,
far
good.
as, at all of that? I know the USGS did all the soils work around here, and I actually worked with that person too. She's retired now, but all the soils work has been done, so I don't know as you actually have to dig any test pits. And I know,
That's just an amateur state,
yeah, but I mean, I've actually seen the soils maps, and I know the woman personally,
Okay.
Karen Dudley, who
But again, we
who
didn't
did
know all
them.
this, you know.
Yeah, so, I know you're out of the wetlands, and I know exactly where
Okay.
the aquifer is, because back in the day, what was it, 20 years ago, we passed a Water Quality Protection Act, or a Water Quality Protection,
Drinking
what do you call
water,
it?
the drinking water.
Ordinance, so that you can't put a gas station over the aquifer, and I was way involved in that. So, you know, you're out of the wetlands up there, I can guarantee you that. So anyways, if you guys can give me like a week or two, and I'll go see my people, and then I'll come back at like another meeting like this next month, and I can probably lay out everything for you and do a little presentation.
And then you can also say what you're feeling like we may need, if we need to hire anybody outside.
Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely. And the thing you should know about the salt shed is if they're built properly, you don't have to worry about runoff. And the one they did in Situate, Rhode Island, the one I was very involved in with the reservoir thing, there's a way, and I know they have this on 93 too, you can recapture the runoff, they dry it out, and you reharvest the salt, because salt is expensive. So you don't want what's going on down there, because it's just like, you know, getting washed away. So if you build it correctly, it's got like an impervious surface, and there's actually tanks underneath it, And then you've got, just like you would build a road with runoff and you've got a detention basin that filtrates like the sediment out, what you're doing is you're filtrating the salt out, and you can, if it's built right, you actually recapture it. And so the way it should work is there's no runoff if it's built correctly. So you don't have to worry about Lake Winnipocket, or, you know, somebody saying, well, what if it flows into the fire department? If you build it right, that won't happen.
So, I love everything you're saying, and my question is kind of taking a step back. So we bought this land, when did you say, 2000?
2020.
Oh, 2020. And there was the direction that we were gonna take that salt shed and move it up there, but that never happened. So what do we need the town to do to say, this is happening, we're gonna move it, and let's go, let's get this project started, you know what I mean?
Well, yeah, and I think right now,
Well,
it's
right,
nice to
but I
have
mean,
people well, I think it's already somewhat been started, because that's where that other entrance came in. We got that from, when we, you know, resold that property, so that was nice, because the other entrance didn't work due to,
Right,
I
right,
can't
and I
remember.
get-
So now
I
we
get
have that, so
part.
what we're gonna need to do is, I think it's very wise to let Peg get us some information for, you know, within the month, right? And then we'll take that information, and then we can form a committee like we talked about. And then what will happen then is we would, you know, start moving forward, saying, you know, like, for example, if the road agent's gonna be the only one to do the work, then we need a timeline. I do think we should still get a price, or maybe we'll get some prices for doing some of the dirt work up and behind there.
I get all that
With
stuff.
scheduling.
I get all that stuff. I guess
And make
what
sure
I'm
we have the
asking is,
funds that are needed too.
We had
Bingo.
we had a straw poll that said, and the town voted on Saturday, that we want to move forward with this.
Right.
Up until this point, we thought that that was the direction we were going in, but it never went. So is there anything else we need to do to say,
Well, I think it's
yes,
funds.
we're gonna move forward on this question, we're
Yeah,
gonna move
but
forward?
it is funds, and we've been putting
Okay.
money aside for it.
So we're a go, we can start looking at this and.
Well, I think,
Kinda have to be.
Yeah, I think we were.
I agree, but it hasn't happened yet
Right.
Well,
in 6
give
years.
us some time, we just.
Right, no, I know.
So my concern is that I'm not sure we have been putting funds aside. We had a salt shed fund, and that fund was there for a couple of years, and then it vanished. It vanished, there's no salt shed fund.
So,
It's now the land and highway, it's been folded into that.
no, that's what it's always been.
That's what it's always
We,
been.
we just called it the salt
I
shed
was
fund.
a trustee of the trust funds, there was no salt shed fund
Well,
specifically,
initially there was.
not for a capital
Okay.
reserve fund.
So it's situated underneath a land and highway fund, which doesn't, to me, translate directly to salt shed. And so, you know, I would like to see dedicated funds specifically for the salt shed.
Well, and I can tell you, if you want grant money, you're gonna have to do that, because usually
I
it's
know.
like,
was getting
sometimes it's 100%, they give it to you, but a lot of times it's 50-50, you know, they'll give you 50% and you gotta come up with 50%. Your 50% can be labor in kind, you know, that sort of services, and, I do run a company, River Chicks Enterprises LLC. I do consulting for Ragged Mountain and Moon Mountain when they're putting culverts in and building bridges and all that. So I run an environmental consulting company. I'm not sending anybody any bills right now. This is all, I'm just gonna do this right now for the town. But I can tell you that moving forward, you will have to come up with like a dedicated fund for this to prove to the state that you have these earmarked for this specific purpose. They're not gonna wanna see land and road thing, that ain't gonna work. Okay, and I've done this before, cause you believe me, I've done this for decades. And, so, and I literally know the people that will sit down and help you fill out the applications for these grants. They'll walk you right through that, so you can get all the information that you need to set things up the right way so you qualify and all that. So let's not put the cart before the horse. Let's figure out if there's grant money available. Let's figure out all the different kinds of salt sheds there are out there and how much they all cost. And then how much DOT can help us with this. When everything is said and done, these are pretty specific structures if you've ever seen them. And you wanna make sure who's building this actually has a resume for it. Nothing against our road agent, but these are very highly technical things, you know, that you're entering into here with these recapture systems and stuff. In other words, you know, if you're putting in a septic system, you have to be a septic designer. You know, you have to be certified to do that. You just don't have Joe with a backhoe do this. So, you know, just be aware of that. But I think a lot of the site preparation and things like that can be done by,
Dave, did you have something to say, and then Teresa?
Yeah, the fund, the Highway Land and Building Fund, is what was used to purchase that land. And the way that it is phrased is for the purchase of land and/or construction of buildings. And so that is what has always been referred to as the Sand and Salt Shed Fund, but that's not the actual name of the fund.
It's not.
It would certainly cover doing all of this work, because it's all highway-related work, though that's not even in the original warrant article to say that it had to be highway-related. So I don't think there's anything that you wouldn't be able to fund out of this. However, you would want to make sure that if, for example, a grant wanted a specific name or a specific type, you could do much like we did with the transfer station at the next town meeting and remove the fund and recreate the fund in a different manner that maybe the grant needs.
Yeah, you're gonna have to
have to wait for a full year to do more,
you're gonna have to do
but
something like that.
yes.
No, and you don't have to wait a full year to do that, because it's just the way it's on paper, and, you know, don't get bogged down on that, because I'm sure we can find a way to make that all work. So,
Teresa has a quick question.
oh, yeah,
I do, Peg.
Yeah.
The other concern that we had, or some individuals in town had about the salt shed, is the fact that it's gonna go back above the emergency shelter that we have over there,
Yep.
which has a metal roof. So if you can maybe find out with the air department and such, is there any concern about having a salt shed above a building that has a metal roof, air current wise?
yeah, I can ask that
If you
question.
have-
I don't think that's gonna
Because I know
really,
there's an air division over at
yeah,
DES, I remember that.
yeah, it's air, water, and waste. Those are the
Yes.
3 divisions. I don't think that that's gonna be an issue at all, again, because if this is built correctly and operated correctly, salt is expensive and you don't wanna waste it, you don't want it blowing around. The whole idea is to
Exactly.
contain it, and you can recapture it and all that sort of thing. But it's a good
It's
question, and we
something
can
to
find
keep in
out.
mind, no, it's something to keep in
Absolutely.
mind during the development, to make sure that current isn't gonna disturb the salt.
Mhm.
That's all. While you're looking around, you can ask that question.
I will.
Thank you, Peg.
Yeah.
We appreciate you too. Great resource.
Yeah, I'm happy to do it. I mean, you know, if I can help, I'm gonna do this, you know?
One thing that was brought up before, and we've kind of focused on the building itself right now, but one of the things was, is that the settled place where they were going to have the salt shed? And if it, has it been established that that is the place, and what kind of testing or study or looking at it has to be happening, and should that happen?
I think Peg's somewhat saying that because a lot of it would be soils, just to make sure
Right,
that you,
soils,
you don't sink out of
yeah.
sight and you got the problem.
So
Or
that-
what it would take to make it, I mean, you can do almost anything with removal and material in, but it's all based on, you know, what we all have for money, and you know, we've all seen things
So
go
is that
from.
gonna involve having to have an impact study or something like that?
Well, this is a teeter-tottering question, we haven't, I
But
mean, no,
think
I mean.
She's
but-
gonna utilize, she's gonna try to utilize the people she already knows. to
Yeah,
know
I'll ask
who to
all those
study.
kind of questions, because
Right.
again, what we'll do is we'll get the soils map, and I'll just, and these are good questions that we can ask New London, because they just rebuilt theirs. What did you go through, what did you have to do, blah, 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 we can go see it, and so I think that would be something to do maybe next month sometime, is call some people over there and see if we can visit and talk with them, see what their bottom line costs were, find out who built it, if they had to do any soil testing or whatever. But I can tell you, you're well out of the aquifer and you're not on wetlands, so I know those would be two major barriers, and you're also away from the river, so. The other thing that'll have to happen is once that's rebuilt and this thing is, you know, the material's moved out of there, there's gonna be a fair amount of remedial work that'll have to happen here. And basically what it's gonna be, most likely, is digging out the soil down to a certain level, probably trucking it up to your new site, and then putting in some clean soil there. So there's gonna need to be some remedial work down there. There always is whenever you take a building down and you're relocating. I don't think that that's, you know, over the top, highly technical. It's like, you know, it's all doable.
Do you think the grants for the cleanup of that, you know, because it's right beside a river and it has had impact?
Well, and those are the questions that I'll ask when I talk to the watershed assistants.
But also a grant for the new.
Right, so these are the questions that I'm gonna ask the watershed assistance section that works in the water quality planning section, which is what I worked in, water quality. That's what we did. So we have some people that are working in polluted waters, some people, you know, it's whatever. So it's that section that gives out the grant money to clean up water and protect resources. I'll ask them, and then we're gonna ask DOT if they have free money for people building salt sheds. And honestly, I don't even know if there's anything available. I'll be honest with you, when I left my job, there was a guy that took him a year to find somebody to do it, and he lasted 10 months. He lives in Morocco now, and they didn't repost the job because they weren't sure there was gonna be federal funding to do it. So there is no one at the state that used to do the job that I did for 25 years. So I don't know what DES looks like now, but I still are in very close contact with all of these people. I see them all the time, they're friends of mine, and I'll find out everything I possibly can. And when I come back, I'm sure there's gonna be a whole nother round of questions, so I can go back again and meet them and stuff.
So
Whatever.
just another thought too, and Chris, you correct me on this, but I think I'm right. We're also looking at not just the salt shed, and that's the project right now, we need to get that done. But what else are we going to, in the next 5, 10, 15, 20 years, need to do up in that area? I.e., do something about, you know, we're not always gonna have the proficiency in a situation that we have now with Emmett and his team and their business. I mean, we go out and we talk to these other communities, we are getting a good deal. And that's not always gonna be there. And there's gonna be a time when we're going to need to look probably down the road, when Emmett retires, to putting a full-time person on, and that means buildings and equipment. And that's gonna, you know, everybody doesn't wanna spend money, but we're a growing little community. And if we do this progressively, you know, the three of us have talked this past year, if we do this progressively and do it with common sense and consideration for the bank account, we just need to look down the road. But this is project number one, and this is, you know, my concern is the liability of the school district. I'm very concerned about that, and I think my
Yeah,
colleagues.
and I'm a little curious about the water issue that's going on in the elementary school.
There's just a pump.
Yeah, there's a lot of things that can corrode pumps. Salt is definitely one of them, but acid can as well. And we know we have acid waters. There's just a myriad of things. So unless you show me data that shows they did water testing, you know, I'm not saying that it's wrong. It probably is what's causing it, but I'm a scientist, so I'm extremely data. Okay.
Well, I appreciate you being able to look on both sides of the coin, because
Yeah.
that's been brought up to us too, that it wasn't the salt shed, and I respect those opinions. And
Yeah.
I think that's part of having this committee and having the discussions we're having, because I don't think of nobody's fault, we haven't had this in-depth of a discussion.
Yeah, and moving forward, if that's an issue, because I used to work at a drinking water treatment plant, the largest one of its kind in the entire North Atlantic seaboard, okay, at Situate Reservoir in Rhode Island. So I know a lot about, it had the exact same kind of dam that we have right there, the sluice gates, everything, the pumps. I've been inside the guts of those things. I know a lot about pumps. I was a professional brewer for 5 years, so I know a lot about moving fluids. There are pumps that they make.
Water?
Yeah, there are pumps.
Water?
What's that?
Water?
what are you moving? Here's the-
Yeah, any kind of liquid. So when I was a brewer.
Doesn't really matter.
When I was a brewer, I was moving hot liquor, from tank to tank to tank, and there are water pumps that you can buy that can tolerate high temperature, corrosive materials. So it might just be that they got the wrong pumps down there. So that's a whole nother ball of wax for another person to deal with. But I'm just saying that, there will be some remedial work to be done there, when everything is said and done. And I would hope that there would be grant money available, but if there's not, then we're just gonna have to do that the best we can with that. And I'll get with you, as soon as I have the info. So, do we wanna talk about this again at the next selectmen's meeting a month from now? Is that what we're targeting?
Or do you wanna try to create some sort of committee now? I know we have, a lot of members of the Conservation Commission here tonight, so that might make sense, but,
I think the committee should be made up of, from different members
Right.
of the town, so, I just would want it to be, what am I trying to say? Not.
A diverse
balanced.
group.
Diverse
Like a
group,
diverse
thank
group.
you.
Yeah.
Collaborative, diverse group of
Yes.
individuals who might not, let me say this, who might not all think alike.
that's good.
Because I can be very honest with you and very sincere with you, and not to be undermining in any way, and respectful to those individuals who might not agree with you. And to be truthful with you, you kind of convinced me the other day, because I was thinking about, how do we rehabilitate this?
Yeah.
But when you started getting into the water, again, my ignorance, okay, because nobody had educated. And I don't think my two colleagues were educated to the depth, and our third colleague tonight, to the depth that you women have taken the time to educate us at. So I think what we need to do is just be able to prove to the rest of the town, hey, this is what we need to do.
Yeah.
I like to get things done,
Yeah.
and maybe that's my bad personality, but this thing, all I've heard is salt shed, I'm sick of hearing it. Let's get it fixed.
But also, to go off of what you're saying, and then to go off a little bit of saying what Peg is saying, getting the science facts to
Point
what
made.
is actually
Yep.
happening over there too. Not to say that the salt shed still doesn't need to be moved, but we should know what's wrong with if there is anything wrong with the water and what is causing it. Would be nice to get to the
Yeah,
bottom
and
of
I have
some
a
of that.
feeling, I don't know how long that shed is there, but I have a feeling
Oh,
it's
it's been
probably
years.
it's probably grandfathered. So we would see this a lot when I would inspect things like up at the lakes, boat sheds, built out over the lake. You can't do that anymore, because that's a taking. Everybody owns the water. You can cut into your land and build your boat shed, but you can't put it out there, because now I can't ride my boat there. So back in the day, there's a lot of things that were built, and the state doesn't go in and say, oh, you can't do that, you have to rip it down. Well, it's grandfathered. So I have a feeling that this thing's been there forever, and it's probably grandfathered. So you're not really in violation for where it is, but if it's leaking and leaching into the water, that's a Class A water, you can't pollute a clean water. You can't even pollute a polluted water, believe it or not. So no matter what, this has gotta go. And if I was still the wetlands enforcement investigator and I was asked to come here, I guarantee you I would document a violation. It would be really easy to do. I would put 1 meter up here and about 10 meters down there, and I would measure your conductivity. And I'd do a bunch of soils tests. I mean, it's a no-brainer. Okay, so anyways. But that doesn't mean you're gonna get fined, because it's been there forever and it's grandfathered. So what the state would do, what I would do is say, meet my friend, the grant writer, we're gonna help you get some funds and we're gonna get this cleaned up. We'll give you as much as we can, but this is what you have to do, and we give you a huge timeline to do it. And much like you talked to the gentleman here, as long as you're trying to comply, it's really expensive for the state to take people to court, because the lawyers at the Attorney General's office have to represent me when I come after the town of Webster, okay? So that's expensive, it's time consuming, nobody wants to do it. And frankly, I don't want to do it. I went to court a million times. I'd rather just see you spend your time and energy cleaning it up. Because, judges' chambers are very intimidating. So the most important thing to do is come up with what you're doing right now. You're forming a committee. You're coming up with a plan. You're getting information. That indicates to the state that you're willing to comply. You're not in violation because nobody in the Wetlands Bureau even knows about this, and nobody's out here looking at it. So don't stress it. Just, cut right to the chase and fix the problem, just like you're telling this guy. No, you don't want to go to court, and I don't think you ever will be in this situation.
They're also, when they start doing that bridge, where they're gonna tear down the bridge and put the, you know, or whatever repair they're doing to it. They're gonna be set up, DOT's gonna be set up underneath the bridge, right by the salt shed. I
Oh,
believe.
there's gonna be some soils disturbed, there's no question about it. There's gonna be a lot of silt fencing going up and blah, 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 blah.
Right.
There's gonna be a lot going on there, so.
But maybe, I don't know, just saying, and I'm not sure how close they'll be to where, if we were to start this whole thing with the salt shed. If they would, they're gonna have to leave their site once they're done, in better condition than it was.
Yeah, they have to
correct?
remediate it.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
so, maybe there'll be some working with them on some of that.
Yeah, I guess it depends on how everything timing-wise overlaps and whatnot. But I'm just so familiar with this. You guys really need to understand that this is absolutely my area of expertise, and I absolutely will help you guys any way that I can, and I'll get the ball rolling. So, you know, we can figure out whoever you want on the committee. I think my role right now is gonna be just information gatherer 101, and give me a month, and I'll come back, and I'm gonna have a lot to say. I'll try to present it, maybe you can help me figure out how we wanna present it and that sort of thing.
Why don't we, I'm sorry, Chris.
Yeah, getting back to the setting the committee up.
Yeah.
Back in the day when Mike Borick was chairing the select board and I was on that select board, his idea was we get a diverse group of people to look at the problem.
That's
We
what we're
had-
saying.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. We didn't have people that were pro and con. That would not have been useful, and we had talked about that. We needed to get the job done. So come at it from different angles. So my suggestion would be to sort of bring back the Salt Shed Committee, which was disbanded a couple of years after the salt shed was paid, after the lot was paid for. Bring back that committee. There are still some people in town from that committee who I think would want to serve on the committee, and include somebody like Jean Schwaziak, who's got a background.
Oh, she's a better chemist than I am. I mean, she's got 45 years, you know? I mean,
Plus-
Jean's,
Yeah.
Well, how about I
So-
make a suggestion?
she's my
How about
dear
you-
friend.
How about
I
you
can
come to
get
us with
Jean
a
on
list?
Okay.
And we're
Yes.
gonna have our list,
Yeah.
and, you know, not a list, but we're gonna have a couple of people. Road agent's gotta be on the committee.
Yes.
Emmett's gotta be on it, and maybe there's one or two others we'll discuss. Let us talk about it, but you come back with your people that you think should be on it, and I don't see a pro or con. I mean, I looked at all the hands go up the other day, and I would think we got a lot of support.
Yeah, we
So I don't think we're in a, and sometimes, you know, I tend to agree with you, Chris, but I must say with respect, because I have a lot of respect for you, I don't always agree that it has to be everybody agrees. Because sometimes when you listen to other people, even though they're adversarial, they come up with some good ideas or ideas you can explore.
Well, the
and
whole
make it
idea would be to bring people from different areas of strength to the problem.
True.
But with the idea that we want to move ahead on the salt shed.
definitely, yeah.
So in order to get it done, you know, I think that.
I'm with you, I just, you know, you and I agree to agree, and sometimes we come at things from different sides, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Different.
I agree with you. You know, you get that opposing opinion, and there's always something to be learned from that. So like, if you can find somebody who's an engineer, like, you know,
Someone that has
a
a
true
building-
builder,
A builder background
construction.
would be
you know.
nice, because then they know.
Somebody who knows money.
Well, look at
somebody
this
who's
room,
like
sitting around this room,
finance.
you got a lot of talent sitting in
Might
this
be-
room.
might be
You
you.
just, I mean, you know.
No, but seriously, somebody to
Speaking
keep you in
positively.
check with the money aspect of it, but
So, I mean, I
yeah,
think we do that next time around, decide who's, you know what I'm saying?
yeah.
That way it gives you time.
Yeah, give me a little time and see what we can get for free first. So, yeah, don't spend money where you don't have to. I'm not charging anything.
We appreciate
Thank
you
you.
stepping up.
Wait till you get the bill at the end of the project.
That grant thing is
Thank you.
very, 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 very good.
Well, it's close, but I just know on the PFAS there wasn't much. And you would think that would have been for sure, but whatever.
What was that?
On the PFAS we didn't, I don't know, for as much as it's gonna cost both towns, it didn't seem like a whole lot, but.
Yeah, I don't know.
But it could be different sections, different
I
government.
really don't hold up a lot of hope, because I don't know, I think the money's drying up. But, you know, let's not put the cart before the horse, let's get some info and
Thanks for
then.
coming in.
Thank you very much.
I'm sorry I put you on the spot.
Oh, no.
I wanna see this thing move.
Yes, yeah, I do too. Thank you.
Are we done, or are we still talking about stuff? What else is on the agenda?
So, is everybody good? Yes, go ahead, Dean.
Are we moving to the point of it actually going to move, or are we going to study a legal, legitimate building down there?
Well, I think.
Is that option gone, or are we just going to moving it now, or is it still an option?
I think right now, what we gotta do is see, we'll let Peg come back with some of her information, and then we can look at that. I mean, I would never say never to anything until you're done doing your research and make sure you have the, you know, we gotta get the funds together, make sure we can get the funds together, and, then we can move forward, but this is
I
a
can tell
great
you
start.
one of the things that, like, if your thought was, can we fix that building all up and make that a really, really good salt shed and keep it where it is to keep like costs down or whatever? I can tell you that whenever you're rebuilding something and changing it, you have to now comply with all the new rules that are in place. And the number one thing is, they're not gonna let you plop one of these things on top of your aquifer. Heck no, you can't be 50 feet from a Class A water of the state of New Hampshire. Only 7% of the waters in New Hampshire are as high quality as this. This is a jewel we have in our town right here. I've been on every river in the state, every brook, you have no idea. This is a thing of beauty we have in our backyard. And it's so clean that it gets this Class A rating. So it's highly, highly protected, and you don't want to be the guy that's gonna mess it up. And anyways, the setback requirements right now are so high that you'd never, you don't have enough space to rebuild what you would need there. It's not gonna work.
Or don't throw
I guess that's a very good answer to your question.
But it's always a good thing to consider, like, can we fix it up first before you're gonna go spend $1 million? I mean,
Right.
it's a legitimate
Say it was an
thought.
issue.
Oh, I know,
back and
but I'm
forth, and
convinced
just
it can't be back
trying
and
to find
forth.
out if it was all just moved.
I just heard too much good
Yeah.
evidence. It's gotta go up here.
All right, well, thank you.
Thank you.
Everybody all set?
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's my phone and my glasses and my tea.
She's
Is there more-
David.
is
She's
there
gonna
more
take
stuff
over.
on the agenda? or
New
is that-
business. Oh, no, we did that. We did that.
of housekeeping.
We have housekeeping.
I just announced your grants.
I have new business.
All right, come on up.
Are you gonna, do you wanna be on the PA? Thanks a lot, you guys.
Thanks, Greg.
Are you waiting to talk to us, or just here?
I'm just being entertained.
Okay. Oh, okay. Are you a Webster resident?
I am.
Okay. And I didn't know if you had something.
No, no.
This is my son Matthew.
Oh, hi, nice to meet you.
John Clutch.
Yeah, no, I've worked for the state for about 25 years. I spent 17 of it on I-93, building it, protecting Cobbett's Pond, which is a contaminated water, testing water.
So you've done all this stuff?
Uh-huh. And now I work for the Bureau of Traffic. I'm the assistant administrator there, so now I deal with all-way stops and speed limits and flashing beacons and intersections.
I see,
and
because I
pavement
thought they were
marking.
kidding tonight when I saw that, I thought it said DOT, but they,
Yeah.
yeah. Your friend was.
That section came out of our bureau. So
Are we
now,
on the right track here? Do you think we're on the right track?
absolutely.
Okay. No, I'm just asking.
I pass somebody on the way to and from work every day, walking or running. And I've come home both ways, and I can look at 1,000.
Oh, you mean on the four-way? I think he
Yeah,
was asking you
yeah,
on the,
oh,
on the
no, no.
salt shed.
Well, a little bit of both.
Yeah.
But since you mentioned that, thank you, yeah.
Yeah,
That's
no, in the
great.
salt shed, the number one concern is to make sure you have a site plan. You don't plop that salt shed where it's gonna
Right.
eliminate, you're gonna need a sand shed, and you're gonna need a a mechanic's bay,
And
and
that's
you're gonna be
exactly
in a
what my
public works
concern
building,
is,
that's
yes.
gonna be a whole package.
Put it in the right spot,
And
once.
we wanna educate and respect residents that might not feel that way, because I think there might be 2 or 3 of them. And, you know, it doesn't mean they're wrong, we just wanna educate them, and you know what I'm saying? Sorry.
All right. Go ahead.
So, I have a purchase order for a new cruiser. Lowest bid, $44,494. The whole spec sheet and everything is here, so I'll pass that. Now, I'll give you everything afterwards. The grant. Well, let me continue with the cruiser. I also got a purchase order for Global Public Safety to strip our old car and reintroduce everything into the new car. It's $10,146.66, which no taxes, no budget. It's coming out of our police revolving fund. So the money we made from details is gonna pay for that $10,000.
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
And not to be critical in any way. How are you gonna mark this car? You're gonna mark it, right?
We're gonna mark it.
This is going to
That
patrol?
includes the price of the market.
No, but not being critical, okay? This is going to patrol or to one of you?
We'll give that to the lieutenant, we'll mark his car. I'd rather not put a brand new car in the hands of somebody on the road.
No, that's why I'm
His
asking you the
has
question.
only got a few thousand miles on it, so we'll mark his car and let him.
Just so you know, that's why I'm asking you the question, yeah. I didn't want to see the new one go to a new officer.
A new patrolman, yeah.
Thank you.
How do you
agree.
decide, when you wanna mark it or not mark it?
This is gonna be marked.
So,
I guess I'm curious, I mean, I know one thing about an unmarked car, but how do you as the
It's-
chief decide,
I
I'm gonna
decide-
mark this one, I'm not gonna mark that one?
I'd like to have 2 cars, at least 2 cars, we've got 4 cars, so at least 50% of them are marked.
Yeah,
And if they need an unmarked car, they get 2 cars to pick from.
okay,
That's the easiest way.
okay,
And you
And
know,
the 2 cars that
50-50?
are, the 2 cars that are mainly marked are the patrol cars that are out every day.
okay,
okay.
great, that makes
I guess that's kind of one. There have been some comments, nothing negative, but we had some questions asked. And I just wanted to
Yep.
make sure we're covering the base.
So the highway safety grant, it's actually 2 into 1. We got $2,950 for extra
Right,
patrols.
you get it, one second.
This is all
Hang
gonna
on.
go, this is all gonna go to
Okay,
Dana.
just wanna make sure I put it the right way. Yeah, I'm listening.
$2,950 for extra patrols, and it's being jumped to $28,078.45 because we asked for a grant for new laptops for the cruisers. The ones we have are 12 or 13 years old, way outdated. Nobody's using them anymore. And they're gonna pay, we gotta pay 20%. So they're gonna pay $25,128, and we're gonna pay $7,308.83. That also is coming out of the police revolving fund, so there's no money from the town, no taxes, no nothing. And this is a nightmare with all the signatures. As Dana's talked to Phil about it, and this is all the paperwork on it. And it'll take a few minutes for everybody to read it and go over it.
But this is the grant that you guys filled out and has
Yeah.
been approved?
Right, yes.
Is there anything in particular that you were worried that we should, well, you'll review it more, but I mean, I'm not
Well,
quite.
I'm familiar with the grants, so.
Yeah, so I mean, is there anything in there that,
No.
I mean, I could read it all day long, but I don't know that I'd
No,
pick
it's-
up on
it-
anything.
Basically, they're giving us all new tablets,
Yeah.
new stands for our cruises, and e-tickets. So instead of handwriting a ticket,
Yeah.
I swipe your driver's license, I take a scanner and scan your registration.
Oh.
It prints out the ticket
Oh,
on a printer in the car, emails it directly to motor vehicle, and all I do is hand them the little slip of
who
paper.
came up with that?
The state of New Hampshire did.
Good idea.
And I would say the best reason is, if I write you a ticket,
Yeah,
I usually hold that ticket for a week,
yeah,
in case there's something that comes on where the ticket gets squashed.
yeah,
The state says, well, we're gonna fix that.
Uh-huh.
Now you're gonna email them directly to us, so we have it instantly. Now the ticket's not gonna go away.
So I'm gonna sound a little bit like Dave, our former selectman. What is the type of computer that you're putting in the car?
The computers that we got are the ones that the state recommended, it's the ones that the state police are using.
So it's state bid?
State bid.
Okay.
And
I didn't know if they gave you the
they
option.
really liked them. I mean, the ones we we looked at, they come up and give us a demonstration on them, were unbelievable. I mean,
So
compared
the
to what
same
we're.
as state police is, that's the second question, the same state police is running.
So you figure, I gave a slip for a car for $44,000. The state police just bought 100 tacos. $171,000 apiece, completely outfitted. That's with cameras, tablets, guns, with everything. $171,000. So we're a little bit under that.
Well, I think we appreciate, I know you keep the Fords and Broncos and had one up at Plymouth State University, 150,000 miles, and never put a wrench on it.
Yeah.
You want me in the number 2, right? You're number 1, number 2. This says title of subscription, is that?
So I will.
When are you making this purchase
So,
of the car?
no, that's what I was gonna tell you too.
Yeah.
We don't have to, we'll get billed 90 days after, we get 90 days after it's delivered to us. So, it's gonna be, it'll be a while.
Oh, okay.
Last time it took 4 months.
Okay, because this is, we have to deposit this into the trust fund.
Right.
And then we
It's
have-
down the road from
Okay.
here. So when the car is delivered to us, they'll bill us within 90 days. We have 90 days to pay for it.
And I see you're using McFarland Ford instead of the Colonial.
Yep, we got a better buy from
Okay.
them. They give us a better deal.
McFarland, and then
Yep. It was about $4,400 cheaper.
Really?
They,
Well,
and
it's
save
nice
the
because
money.
they're in New Hampshire.
That's why we've gone to different places. Last time Massachusetts gave us the best deal, and we bought it from Mass. And the car's been real good, so. Nope, that'll go right to
Yes.
Dana's got the whole thing.
gets the money happening.
Thank you.
That's
Money
great,
guy.
Steve. I mean, I know you looked at me with 3 eyes when I said I want to see us working on grants, but I do, and that's great. That's nearly 30 grand in grants.
Yeah, and I just like the fact that we got that revolving fund to pay
Yep.
for all the side things that we need. I mean, you're talking almost $11,000 for the outfitting of the cruiser, and then $7,000 for the tablets.
Are we getting details enough? I mean,
It's slow right now.
is there anything we
but
need to do to
have-
support you more on
I'm trying to
detail?
think, we have $34,000 in that detail
Something
fund?
like that.
Nice, yeah.
We've made some serious money in
Yeah.
that detail fund to pay for stuff, so.
And you ask
I'm
other
happy.
departments, but to help you, but we still get the
We still
overage.
get it.
Yep.
And, I mean, we go close by, anybody
Yep.
that's got one, I mean, Concord wants us to do details every day, and you just can't, you just don't have we don't have the
And then
personnel.
if one of our cruisers gets hit in Concord, that becomes a whole different problem.
We're liable for our own cruiser.
Yep.
Just like
That's-
if
no, I-
they come up here.
Yeah, yeah.
I went through Franklin the other day, there was an Alton cruiser running a detail, and a Campton cruiser.
Yep.
I mean, talk about a distance away.
Staffing's still an issue.
Yeah, and staffing, Sully picked up the distance, he's gonna work 5 days a week,
Nice.
and we don't have to pay anything extra, so he'll work the full 40 hours, and, I mean, there's no insurance, no nothing for it, he's part-time and he can work 40 hours.
Part-time, retired, and capable.
Pardon?
Part-time, retired, and get his benefits and. capable.
Absolutely, so it works out good for us, and he can work, I mean, he can work 60 hours a week.
Yep.
And he's willing to pick up the slack and cover anything we need, so that's gonna fill in a
Nice.
huge gap for us.
Well, that's good.
And we've got 3 applications already,
Good.
so I'm happy about that.
Perfect. All right.
Thank you.
Okay.
Anything else?
The tablet, the grant for the tablets,
Mhm.
we have to pay that, and the check has to clear before May 30th.
I think we can handle that.
That's the huge stipulation that they have.
So you don't want me to wait until May 29th?
Well, it better be cash then, I'll get our delivery.
Yeah, right? Thanks, Steve.
Yeah.
I heard you were gonna be in Florida today.
All right.
I can take it out of your taxes,
So-
but that's not a good thing.
I kind of lost what word I got for the new one. So annual,
Well, that's
because
what
we
the
did the
revolving funds
deposit
do.
authority policy already. We've done the investment, we did the, okay, select board questionnaire for the
Yeah,
audit.
why don't we hold that? May I
Yes.
just suggest we
Yes.
go from here? We have the contract complete for the code enforcement and inspection services. Do you want to speak to that?
So I did change it a little bit from the last time, because Matt's gonna be primarily remoting in, or part of his work to be remoting in. I added a cybersecurity compliance clause to it, so if there's an incident, he has to cooperate with the town. This was under the recommendation of Primex. Other than that, it's the same stuff that you saw before.
Are you comfortable with that?
I'm
You're the guy that's
comfortable
gonna be supervising this.
with it.
So we are looking for signatures here,
Yeah, correct.
and I'll just, unless you wanna read the whole thing, I'll just pass out the signature page.
Did you have a chance to set up training yet? You were gonna set up Primex training for the computer system and everything?
So that was another one I was gonna bring up to you later.
I'm sorry.
So you asked me to move the date again. The next date they gave me was April 21st, and before I confirmed it, I wanted to make sure you were gonna be able to make
How
it.
about you? You want me or just,
Yeah.
the 21st? That's the firearms, you know, I'm doing instructor research that day. For me, I've gotta do it, so,
Yeah.
for my profession, so, the 22nd, the 24th, 28th, 28th, the next week, how many hours is it?
I think it's from 10 to noon.
Is it like a Zoom, or did you?
It's in person.
In person.
Would it be here, or is it?
It would be
somewhere?
here. We're gonna do it in the select board conference room.
I would, you know, it's not about me, but I would appreciate it, I'd like to go to it, and I would appreciate it for my education.
Okay, so if you could give me some dates you are available.
Earth Day, the 22nd, 28th, and the 30th, and the 29th. 28th, 29th, 30th, and the 22nd.
Is there
Were
certain
you
times that
thinking
work
of
for you?
like a Tuesday or Thursday?
Tuesday,
Mondays and
Thursdays
Fridays
are
I
better
work from
'cause we don't
home,
have
which
people
are
here.
none of those dates that you
Yeah,
mentioned.
28th, 28th,
I can
30th.
figure something out if we need to.
Or the
That's date that we're
22nd.
doing it. I can-
Sorry, I
What's your-
I changed that to recertification.
I got one of those.
Yeah.
How dare you have a life?
Profession.
Does there ever seem like there's time? No.
Everybody into the room at the same time has been difficult.
Yeah.
Well, I can only get into the police academy at certain times.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Certain, you know.
Yeah,
Well-
I'm a little more
Yeah.
flexible, because, well,
Well, we missed the last day
Get fired,
because
and that'd be all right.
both Mary and Stephanie had a training with the state they had to go to that day. And they're on the computer, they're the first people who see the computer in the morning. And if there's an incident, I want them to know
Yeah,
what the steps are gonna
and
be.
I don't mean
what
to
we're
keep
gonna do.
bouncing you, it's not my intent.
No, it's fine, I'll keep working with them.
Okay, yeah. Thank you.
And maybe they can give me a series of dates, and
Okay.
we'll try to make it work.
Okay,
But it's not
sorry.
before that. The week before that, I wouldn't be able to do.
oh, yep.
Sorry.
Here, sign something you haven't
That's
even
something I
read.
haven't even read it. This is the way government works these days,
That's
isn't
right.
it? You know?
You've just given us your house.
I know.
I didn't like it that much.
Thank you. So there was a reason I did that then, because the next thing that I'd like to do, every year right after town meeting, we have to reappoint people whose terms are expiring. And, the first one I have is Matthew Garside, who happens to have just been blessed by you, so, but I need you to do a motion to appoint him as the life safety and code enforcement officer.
Well, it needs to be the building inspector per the zoning ordinance.
Okay.
It's labeled as the building inspector in the ordinance, so it has to be the building inspector.
Oh, I thought I asked you today, you told me life safety, okay.
So I'll make a recommendation that we approve Matthew as the building inspector, am I using the correct term?
He really, building inspector is the term, most towns use it for, like, we have a life safety inspector, but the zoning ordinance specifically calls it the building
No,
inspector.
I just wanna make sure I'm using the
Yeah,
right term.
you're right.
I second that. All in favor?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Well, I'm glad you did. I need signatures here by the board, please. And this is so that Mary can swear them in.
Swear at him.
Next one I have is Conservation Commission, Isabel Britnell, who was here tonight. Her term expired. Would you like to appoint her to Conservation?
Does she still wanna be here?
Right.
Yes.
That was
Yes,
my-
that's,
I always love when you appoint the
Yes.
person not here.
Yeah, right.
Next, planning board alternate John Jewett. And would you appoint him?
Yeah, John's already sitting on that, too.
and just so I clearly understand, we're gonna make a change in the planning board, right? I don't need to attend the meeting.
Right.
I'm gonna be handling. I
Safety,
think I'm
yeah.
gonna be looking at salt sheds too.
Okay, yeah.
ZBA Normandy Blake.
Yeah. Don't get confused, right? This is,
John spelled two different ways on that. I don't know if it matters.
I think
It is spelled two different.
yeah,
John
yeah.
Jewett
He's
is
just showing that he's reading.
I am reading.
He's paying attention, the
And
new
this
guy.
is great, because I didn't do that. Oh my God. I
Dave
feel
used to be
so-
the primary focus on.
On spelling, you don't have to worry about me catching any
yeah.
spelling, by the way.
That would be me. And then,
that's the correct.
yeah, Barbara Corliss, CBA.
Where do I get the info for planning board, because that just tells me postage of everything.
It just comes from me, so
Comes from you, okay.
I add you to, I take John off of the
Off the
group
list and-
mail, and then you go on the group mail.
Okay,
Thank you.
great. Then, as you know, let's see, where am I going next? We've recently hired a custodian,
Oh,
Gordy
wonderful.
Welch,
That's okay.
and this is giving approval for his rate, which is 22 per hour.
It was nice to come in here on Saturday and not have to have everybody put chairs back, or we should help Gordy as much as we can, but get everything set up. Yeah, the night he had everything set up, voting was set up.
Well, I mean, you know,
Yep.
he was my one applicant,
Yeah.
and he's a good one.
Yeah, no, for sure, you can
Point being,
tell.
he's doing, it seems to,
Yeah, yeah.
And we know really who's in charge.
He was changing light bulbs every day, so that was nice.
Yes, dear, right?
That was on my desk, though.
there you go.
Thank you. Then, we have a questionnaire for the auditors. Oh, I'm going to talk about that when I get to it. And this is a thing every year, and usually I just go down and ask you. If you'd rather just take it and look at it and have me do it later, that's fine too, because there's a few questions. Okay, let's do it.
Yeah.
Do you have any knowledge of any fraud or suspicions of fraud affecting your entity?
No.
No,
Have you received any communications from employees, former employees, regulators, or others alleging fraud?
no.
Have there been, I don't know who would say yes on these questions.
Well,
Have there
Might be
been
surprised.
any recent or unusual circumstances that might increase the risk of fraud? Have you or any related party of yours had any interest, direct or indirect, in any of the following transactions or pending or incomplete transactions since January 1st, 2025, to which the town or any retirement savings, pension, or other similar plan was or is to be a party? I'm not sure what that means. Sale, purchase, exchange, or leasing of property.
No.
Receiving or furnishing of goods, services, or facilities.
Nope,
Transfer or receipt of income or assets.
nope.
Okay. How does the town monitor and respond to cybersecurity incidents, and are there any incident response plans in place? And I assume we're gonna be trained on that.
We're doing that now.
And there'll be a policy.
There's currently one drafted.
Perfect. Okay.
Training underway.
Training.
Okay, thank you. Are there any documented disaster recovery and business continuity plans in place to
Continuity.
address, continuity, thank you, to address potential cybersecurity incidents, and I would assume we're working on that. Does the board have any concerns about the integrity of the financial reporting process? Good.
Yeah, right.
Does the board review comparative reports of estimated and actual revenues and appropriations and expenditures? And
Yes.
you do that. Here's an interesting one. How is the tone at the top communicated to employees?
Very nicely.
Well,
Well, I would put in that through your staff meetings.
Yeah.
Through a continuum with the Board of Selectmen, through the department heads,
Okay,
through all those mythologies.
all right, I just wanted to
Management
make sure I was
mythology.
thinking of the right thing. Have any fraud risk assessments been completed? Well, I would say, maybe not a formal one, but the audit is certainly a big part of it. How are fraud risks communicated to employees? Well, the report of the audit, and every year we have the problem because we don't have enough people to have dual jobs doing different things, and that's something we have to deal with. And then it says, for each board member, please provide the years of service and description of your background, which I will do, but I will need to talk to Ben.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Sorry to put you through that pain. Finally, Russ, do you wanna report on that?
Probably.
Do you wanna do that in non-public? Oh,
Yeah.
okey-dokey. We'll do that. What do we have left? I think I just have signatures and minutes.
Perfect.
This is an abatement, and this must be campers.
I think it's a total of $28.
You remember we got a letter from Mr. and Mrs.
Yes.
Baker regarding,
Yep, thank you
and
for
so
doing
I
that.
wrote
Yep, nice.
a letter for you to
Is
approve.
Emmett
and
gonna get a copy of this in his
I
file?
will give him a copy.
Okay, thank you.
This was postage,
Okay, so that's about.
and this is the accounts payable manifest, and Marlo likes to look at the
Yep.
backup.
And then, what do you wanna do here?
Oh,
To cross
would you
his
just
name
cross it
out?
out?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, when you sign it, you just cross his name.
Oh,
out.
got it,
Yours.
got it.
Have you reviewed this yourself?
Yes, I have.
You feel good with it?
Yes.
Armonne Networks, that's our,
IT.
IT
Okay.
people.
no, yep.
Yeah.
What was that all about?
That's the monthly charge that we pay
Okay.
for.
Like this.
That's the former IT people, or?
No, it's the current ones.
I knew it's,
Yeah, they were helpful on the phone today.
They were, good, good.
and,
Got back to me quickly.
okay, you wanna say what you do?
I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah, right?
Yeah,
Cool.
yeah.
Holly was very cheerful. I don't know if it's
Yes,
just
she
someone,
is.
someone who normally speak
Very
with them.
careful.
Yeah.
Usually when they hear it's me, oh, they're
Yeah.
not.
Do we have, money in the budget for those iPads?
We probably do in the technology trust fund.
Well, I was sitting with a town manager of a prominent seacoast community. There was a jovial comment made in a court case, and they went after her computer. We need to have our own computers. Sooner the better.
I think we can do that.
I'd appreciate it.
Yeah.
How do you folks feel?
Yeah, we talked about that. I agree.
No, we're having dinner.
Liability reasons, it's
friend of my wife's in
Well,
Rhode
until you
Saturday
learn.
night, I asked the
Well,
question,
that's my brain
and she said
thing.
you wouldn't believe it just happened.
Yeah.
Wow.
We can have we already have the purchase orders, we just have it
Okay.
signed by the board at the next meeting.
Not trying to be,
No, no,
I usually just look through.
that's why we got the information.
What's that? Oh, no, I just
Not
have
bad.
a picture of sign when there's people putting down myself.
no, I just,
No, it's good sometimes to have that knowledge
Mm.
or hear things so you know how to protect
well, it just kinda
yourself.
convinced me.
Yeah,
Very-
right.
A very reputable community, I'm not going in with that, I'm just saying, you know.
So you didn't have any questions on the manifest? You know, your former chair used to always ask me a question.
Well, he's in the audience, but he didn't
I
get
know.
to see it this time, did he?
That's why I thought I'd talk about it.
All right.
That's just because my memory was so bad, I had to ask you the same thing every other month.
Kids will do that too.
So let's approve, well, I make a motion to approve the draft of the minutes.
I'll second.
Should I say a date? That would be, I just,
You would need her to specify
She
dates.
should probably specify.
yeah, so, cause it would be for last month, correct?
You want me to, it would be,
What are we now, we're.
there was a lot of minutes,
We're
cause I
March.
was behind.
So,
Well,
at the
we have a
last
copy
selectmen's
of
meeting,
the
which would be
minutes,
March
I'll go over
first,
the
I think it was.
Yeah, you want to.
Do you have copies of them, and then I'll get all the
What's his
dates.
Huh?
Just on-
That's Dean.
Dean, did you feel comfortable with the answer to her question, because I did, I'm sorry, did you feel comfortable with her answer to your question about the movement, because I did feel comfortable with it? I'm
Yeah,
curious.
oh, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
I
yeah.
think there's like
I know,
4 or
just
5
the
sentences.
Okay.
the tendency was leaning
It
towards the
solidified
only
it, yeah,
option was
it
to
solidified
move
it for me,
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
okay.
And I had a question for Dana. John Jewett and I came on at the exact same time to the planning board.
Is Dean's appointment, was it the
So
same time?
you stagger the
We
appointments.
staggered them, Dean, I think.
So
yeah.
you were appointed to a longer term, because we had 2 positions available.
Oh.
So the way it works is we wanna make sure that there's not always people coming on and leaving the board at the same time.
Okay, yeah.
So we just stagger it out.
Oh.
And we'd be
So you stuck me
chasing.
with a long.
Cause I think,
Yeah. That's right. All right, let me start over here. Do we accept the minutes stated Monday, February 2nd, as written?
Good for me. I didn't see any typos or anything.
No, that's right, yes, you don't have to vote. Well, it's just me and you, Ken. All right, yep. Looked good to me from what I saw. And then we have the meeting minutes of February 5th.
And February 5th was the public hearing on the budget. Just FYI.
That's right, for the public hearing. I didn't see anything. Check all the numbers, but too late, everything that's all been right. All right. And then the minutes of Tuesday, February 17th.
Make a motion that we accept those?
I second. And then we have the non-public of February 17th.
Make a motion we accept those?
I second.
And those minutes were sealed.
Yeah,
just
in
to
seal.
remind you, yeah.
And then from the select board meeting, the one I went to that I think I already approved, I think we already approved the March 2nd.
Yep.
I started with that.
Yep, we did.
Minutes of the meeting.
Yep, okay.
now that we did February 2nd.
Oh, we do have one more. The minutes from the February 13th meeting.
Mhm. Whole stack of them right back.
So I think
Yeah,
we're caught
taking
up
it.
now.
Yep.
I
Yeah,
think
I'm good with the turkey.
All right. So we've done the signing of the documents, the motion for payment. So we did, I'm just looking at this, but we already signed that.
You have,
Yep,
yeah, you have.
So-
I have nothing further for you,
okay.
yeah.
I have one brief non-public on reputation, and I think there was somebody requesting another non-public.
Okay. Anything else from the 3 people left? So, go
I
ahead.
believe that Teresa would like a non-public under reputation,
Okay,
and she would like the chief of police to attend.
okay. All right,
And
So-
so maybe
we'll start with that.
you start with that one,
Okay.
and Russ has a small.
Mine will be waiting.
So we will adjourn the meeting and go into non-public at 8:54.
And I will turn the cameras off and lock the doors.
Say no more.